Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Wednesday.
That light's different. It looks good though.
Well, yeah, but like, man,
I like the color. We're paler looking more gothed out.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I forgot to adjust the. Well, no, because I usually put it on the cool setting because I don't like the warm setting because it makes me look orange and or pink or something. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want that. I'd rather look corpsey.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been having some trouble. We have two ring lights actually. They're not both on at the same time. But the one that we had that was the backup started flickering the other day, and I was like, well, shit. And then we had another one that was fucked up before, which is why I had switched out. So I was like, I'm gonna try and see if that one works, and it does. However, I did buy another one just in case this one craps out because I didn't want to be left with none. So now we have 3 ring lights.
Yeah.
And they just work kind of sporadically. So we're just gonna see how they're only like $23, like even with the stand and everything.
Yeah.
So these have actually lasted quite a long time, so I can't complain too much. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? CB said this idiot called his ex-wife a slut for toe sucking. Yeah, I mean,
about Prince Andrew. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy here, the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew, which, like I said, I'm not the only person to make that joke. It's a very obvious joke. I was gonna say he's not, and he was not an artist, obviously, like the douchebag formerly known as
they're talking
Prince
about
Andrew, or whatever. This was, like I said, I'm not a fan of the royal family. I think royal families in general are a silly idea, and it's just, I don't know, just a dumb idea, it's an antiquated idea overall. And I didn't really know much about. I know there's a small contingent of Americans that are really into like British royal family shit. Like it's like celebrity kind of, not as much. I feel like there was a lot more of that kind of stuff in the 80s. Yeah. I kind of feel like a lot of people were into that. Like there was shit on TV about them. Because I remember hearing about Fergie, who was Andrew's ex-wife, and all that, like when they got married and all that kind of stuff. And a bunch of people over here watched it. But I feel like nowadays, like especially younger people and stuff, they don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah, I remember like people. They might have been very old Gen X or very young boomers when I was a kid. Fucking people, they would go on about Princess Di and the princess, and this is that. This is before she got killed. This is around the time where she got married because her wedding was on TV here. It was like live.
Yeah, I remember it was a big fucking deal. Yeah, even in the U.S.
And after that, there were people keep calling her the princess and this and that, and people had to remind certain types of Americans that that's not our royal family.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? You know what I mean? Because they just, well, she's a princess, though. Yeah, but that's of England.
Yeah.
Not
it's like she doesn't have any jurisdiction in this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
in this region.
And because you had some, naive Americans that
I will say that, I mean,
their feelings would get away with them. I don't know why. It was just because it was on TV.
Yeah, like it's a parasocial kind of thing. Like they see celebrities and they think they know them. It's just like rock stars. It's just they just decided to latch onto royal family kind of shit instead. Like it's all just celebrity worship, I guess. I will say that out of all of the royals, and I don't really know that much about them, Diana did seem to be the most decent person. I realize that's a low bar, but
damn,
you know what I mean? No, I'm just saying that it's like she actually did seem like a decent. Person, like a kind of a regular person, at least as regular as you could be.
Yeah,
the younger ones seem kind of all right, but I don't know much about them. Like the ones that are younger nowadays.
In case you're new and haven't figured it out, we're Americans. Okay.
No,
we're Americans.
You don't say.
Yeah, having a monarchy is totally antithetical to everything America stands for. But I can understand. I can understand why European and certain Middle Eastern countries would have them. In no way am I, like anti-UK or English or British or anything like that.
I quite like the UK. I lived here for a while.
Fucking, they gave America a lot of good shit. All right, when it came to art, entertainment, fucking legal traditions, great language, and. Some people have said that there's always a special relationship between America and England, and there was, but it mostly had to do with the connection of Washington D.C. and our form of our language and our form of government was kind of connected to that in a certain way because we were made in response to that into breaking away from the British Empire. But what a lot of people forget, because you're an English speaker, is how much Spain gave to the United States also.
That's true, yeah.
And France. because
especially this part of the country.
Yeah, the South was heavily connected with France and Spain, and because Hollywood isn't here, and the big universities like up in Boston are not here. A lot of the political rhetoric is always framed from an English speaking viewpoint. Shit, man, fucking the Mississippi, Florida, and everything was purchased. Well, Mississippi wasn't purchased, but Florida was purchased from the Spanish Empire. Spain was heavily along the Gulf Coast, down all the way into fucking New Orleans. Spain was in everywhere. Texas, Spain and Mexico, combination of the two. There's kind of a gray line between Mexico and Spain when you go back that far. And, there's always kind of this weird kind of northern perspective, and it's a lot of times in both the right and the left, is that Hispanic-speaking people don't belong here. Well, shit, actually, they were here when we laid the borders down. A lot of them. You got to respect borders and shit, but when America started expanding west, there were already Hispanics and Indian Aztecs type people already here, and Spaniards and shit.
Yeah, they like to say the border crossed us.
And when you look at some of the very old data, the ethnic makeup of this country hasn't changed that much. The proportions are about the same. It's just that the number of people's much greater, much bigger now.
Yeah, but the proportions
are real similar. So there's kind of a weird whitewashing of history, and especially whitewashing the South. The North sees the South as some kind of Anglo-white bastion of fucking, racism or something. No, the Spaniards and the French were here. Indians were here. This is where all the black people are. They're still here. The highest black populations are here, and it's just. And there was always kind of like a blending of cultures and race, too, here. It's been going on forever. Segregation was an attempt to try to separate it. But it had been going on for 200 years by that point already. So, lost cause there, but we're not bagging on England with this shit.
Well, I will say that at least from my, limited research about this topic, it really seems like the British... I don't know how many of them are just kind of like fuck the monarchy, like overall, but it doesn't seem to be a really popular thing anymore. Actually, even when I was there in the 90s, it was probably about 60-70% were like, yeah, we should get rid of that shit. It's like so outdated. And I think it's gotten more like since then, but I could be wrong about that. Like I haven't been there since 2009, 2010, something like that. So I couldn't really tell you what the overarching sentiment is about, but obviously this whole shit show didn't really do the royal family any favors, which is one of the reasons why they rightfully stripped him of all his titles and basically didn't make him leave. They didn't put him in exile or anything like that, but they said basically just sit down and shut up, you know what I mean? Just like stay out of the public eye. We don't want to be seen as associating with you, and and all this, which I think was the right decision. I mean, they did it to save their own ass too. I mean, I don't think they did it out of any principle or anything like that, other than we just want to retain our position and we don't want to be seen as associating with someone that shitty.
Well, my only problem with the British royal family is that it doesn't act as a royal family. It's just a bunch of playboys getting free money, fucking buying up property and spending most of their time overseas. What the fuck would they want to be in England for? And which that's not what a royal family is supposed to be doing. It's supposed to protect its own people. It's supposed to fucking protect its borders from invaders. It's supposed to protect its people from the abuses of companies, corporations, and its own government. It doesn't do any of that.
Well, some of them, to be fair, I think largely, like I said, it seems, especially nowadays, to be a largely ceremonial role. Mm-hmm. So it does seem like mostly what they do is charity work and things of that, which is fine. Better than just sitting around doing nothing. But they do. It was funny because like I was watching all these documentaries about it, and they're talking about doing the work like as a working royal. I'm like, do they work though? Yeah. Like, do they have jobs and stuff? Like, I guess they kind of do because, well, like I said, as we'll talk about, because I'll go a little bit. I'll just give like a brief summary of like Andrew's history, like his upbringing and stuff, because I didn't actually know much about it, but he was actually in the Navy for 20 years and saw combat and things like that. So he wasn't just like sitting around on his duff. But he did have a reputation even back then, and I feel like it just kind of got worse and worse. And then when the Epstein thing came out, like, people were just like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And like I said, rightfully so.
Most of the European monarchies, going back hundreds of years, their main thing was to be on welfare. They didn't really have jobs. They had titles, and they got a certain amount of money a month. So they were rich people on welfare.
Yeah, the idea of somebody, I think you can see why Americans are a little salty about this still.
We don't like that shit,
all of us are out here struggling. In the UK, like, people are struggling. You got a regular job. All y'all are regular people, you know what I mean? You got to go out there and have a job and try to feed your family just like all the rest of us peons. And the fact that you have these people that just look like they sit around and do nothing and live in these huge mansions and have everything done for them.
Living off of
taxpayer money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just millions and millions of dollars and never have to worry about a single thing in their entire lives and are doing all this crap and just getting away with it. Is infuriating. Yeah. And the thing that infuriates me about it is that I don't like the entire idea that someone is, like, special by birthright. Like, so the idea of a royal family that it's like, oh, you're born and you're the prince and they can't take that away and blah 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 is, like, offensive to me, because I'm like, look, bitch, you're not special. You're just a human being like the rest of us. You have to eat and shit and get cancer and die just like the rest of us. Well, you're not fucking special.
If you're gonna have a royal family, you better have a badass constitution, okay? And they have to fucking, that royal family has to be guardians of that constitution and guardians of its people. In case the elected government goes rogue, the royals can step in and go, no, we can't have this.
Yeah.
You're fucking gonna do that? No. We need new elections. Shit like that.
Yeah.
And
I'm not sure they do have some power.
There are some countries where that's how it works.
Right.
I can understand. But the thing is that they shouldn't get any taxpayer money. They should, by now, those families should be so rich that they don't need any help.
Yeah, why do you need shit from us, bitch? Like, not us, obviously.
If anything, they should be using their economic power to create businesses in the company, to create businesses and industries in their country to enriching their people. Yeah, I mean, you should do.
And like I said, for all I know, some of them might do that.
Yeah, I think some of them do. Some of them actually run House of Lords and.
Yeah, like I said, some of them do actually have. Like, go to work in the government, or like I said, or run charities, or something like that, where they do something useful.
I've heard lords talk about stuff, and they know exactly what they're. I totally agree with them. But
so I don't have as much of an issue with that, as long as you're not sitting around just.
They better be servants and guardians of the people of the kingdom.
Yeah, you just have to remember that like not.
You got a responsibility to people.
Yeah, like you all work for us.
It tends not to what happened, and this is France, Spain, all of them. What they tend to do is they sit around and make nothing, don't do anything other than just suck off people's money, and then they're on welfare, and then they start inbreeding.
Go around partying.
Then they start inbreeding.
Yeah.
Because, if I marry my cousin over here, then we can combine these two. Yeah. That's probably not as bad as it used to be.
No, it's not really the same.
That's what they did back in the day.
Because now there's like a much wider dating pool, obviously. Yeah. And it's just like
even in like Russia in the 1700s, you had fucking boy kings sitting on the throne. They're fucking retarded.
Well, I mean,
just totally retarded.
Why do you think that all of those royals look like that? I mean, everybody knows.
Well, some of them look normal to me.
That's why. Nowadays, some of them look like.
Oh, the paintings
look like regular.
All that Habsburg shit.
Yeah. Because they're all fucking inbred. That's why they look weird. That's why they look that way.
Yeah.
Not super attractive. Most of them.
Yeah, Peter Boy's over in Miami. What's up, man?
Yeah, Camp Guy says The Crown is one of the absolute best TV miniseries I've ever seen. I've heard that was really good. I'll have to get around to watching that one day. CB says, Princess Anne is a really nice person. I met her when she did a royal visit to my workplace. Right. Now, see, I was watching this video that was trying to explain the succession thing. Because here's the deal. So, Queen Elizabeth II, who, died a couple years back or whenever it was, she had 4 kids, right? So, Charles is the oldest, and now he's the king, because she died. Now, Andrew was second in line to the throne, but his sister Anne was actually older than him. But back in those days, if you were a girl, you got pushed to the back of the line. Like, you could be queen, but you'd be last after your brothers, even if you were older. So, even though Anne was older than him, she would have been second in line, but no, he was. And then it was Edward, who was the youngest son, and then Anne would have become, if some cataclysm happened or something like that. Now, I heard that they changed those rules in, I believe, 2013, and I believe it was Queen Elizabeth that did that. That now it just goes by birth order. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Whoever's the next oldest is the next in line for the throne. But it's because it was grandfathered in under, so if something had happened to Charles, like previous to all of this shit about Andrew coming out, then Andrew would have been the next, even though Anne is technically the next in line because she's older than he is. So I thought that was kind of interesting because it just goes to show they're like, yeah, well, sons first, and then we'll throw the chicks last, even though they can be queen if they want, like after like 3 or 4 of their brothers die, when there's nobody else around. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I was like, well, that's kind of fucked up. But they did change it. They changed it in 2013. So I thought that was kind of interesting because like I said, I don't follow royal stuff at all, so I hadn't really heard about that. But I mean, that's kind of cool because who are the princes that Charles's sons, William and Harry, right?
I have no idea. I don't.
And they have kids, and some of those are girls. So they said, if one of them like comes into is the king next, and then something happens to him, like, then it'd be, I think they have an older son and maybe a middle daughter, and so she'd be, in the succession too. They wouldn't push her last like they normally would. Zach gave us a super chat. Thank you very much. Andrew's behavior is one hell of a way to express middle child syndrome. Yeah, I was thinking that, I saw this one video that actually explained this pretty well. They're like, royal families, particularly when it's focusing on sons and succession, they always have, the popular phrase, heir and a spare. You know what I mean? So Charles was the heir, obviously, and Andrew was the spare. And they said usually what happens with the spare is that they're obviously kind of trained just in case, like they're going to need to take over or something like that. But they're largely left to their own devices and are kind of allowed to do what they want, which is absolutely what happened in this situation. Andrew, in fact, was reportedly, every source that I read said this, the Queen's favorite son, even though, by most accounts, he was kind of a douchebag, even from an early age. Just real arrogant and entitled, as you would be. Growing up in this environment, I think it would be really hard not to turn out like that. When you're born and from birth, everybody tells you how fucking special you are, and you can basically do whatever you want to do, and you're better than everybody else, then that usually doesn't turn out too good. And that's obviously happened.
Just Europe in general, and kind of like the UK in particular, very class oriented. Is very much a hierarchy, and it was a place where you had, where you literally had to know your place.
Yeah,
that didn't exist so much in the United States. You
could
could show up with not much of anything, and by your own power, under your own steam, you could end up being a damn millionaire. And yeah, you're going to be living right alongside other millionaires.
Or you could be a bum living under a bridge.
Or you could be a bum. Yeah, you could be a bum living under the bridge, and there's a lot of that.
It's a crapshoot.
But it just, I don't want to say it's a crapshoot. It's some of it's what you know and who you know. That
a lot of it, sadly, is who you know. Networking
who you know has a lot to do with it.
Super important.
Yeah. If you make the right friends and you're in the right circles,
I hate to say it because I'm an introvert, but it's absolutely true.
The main means of becoming extremely rich is to have information that other people don't have, and you're getting it first. You usually get that through friends, and they're inside a circle. Like you say, hey, guess what? Roy, he's building that housing complex fucking over there. That whole area is going to boom. If you had $1 million, you'd be able to quadruple that in 3 years. So I don't have the $1 million. Oh, well, Tim will loan you the $1 million. He runs the bank. And we get that done, kick me back 10%. Okay, all right, yeah. Sign on a dotted line.
Yeah, you get like...
You didn't do shit. All of a sudden, you got $1 million. You bought a piece of land. Yeah. Fucking 3 years later, you're worth $3 million.
And like I said, it was just because you happen to know this
dude. Because you knew some dudes. You signed on the dotted line. You kicked back some money to some other guys. They're in a system. They're in a network.
Yeah.
It's usually you wash my back, I'll wash yours, that type of deal.
And if you're not in the network, you're
not in that network. You'll never. If you didn't have that information,
you're not going to get far.
So. If you didn't have that information, that group of friends, that never would happen.
You're not going to get far.
Yeah.
CB says, when the Queen and Princess Anne visited the site of the Dunblane massacre, oh shit, I was actually in the UK when that happened, not in Scotland, but I was in Wales when that happened. Andrew was meant to go, but didn't, and apparently said he didn't want to. Yeah, that sounds like him. That sounds like some shit. Like I said, he just seems like a really unpleasant man to be around. Very arrogant. There was a book that came out about him a couple years back, right after, because we're going to talk about Virginia Giuffre, who was one of the main people that accused him of sexual misconduct.
Who's dead now.
And shit, yeah.
Mysteriously.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get a little bit into that, but you know what I mean? There was another guy, and I actually watched a couple of interviews with him. He's like he's a historian, and he wrote a book about him called Entitled, and he's got all kind of juicy dirt in there. But it's like, sometimes he had it, some of it, he's like, I took it to the publishers, and some of it I had to take out because I couldn't like prove it. But some of the stuff in there he could prove was like pretty, yeah. So, but I watched some stuff with him, and he seemed like really interesting. And he actually likes the royal family. Like, he wants it to continue, which is why he was so outraged by Andrew's shenanigans, because he's like, you know, you're ruining their fucking reputation. You're ruining the whole country's reputation. What are you doing? You know what I mean? So he kind of wanted to expose. It was kind of about Sarah Ferguson too, because she was also kind of a piece of work. But it's kind of funny. I didn't really know. I remember when they got married, because they got married in '86, I think it was. And I remember it was kind of a big deal. Like I said, I didn't really follow any of that crap. But like, I liked British shit, but not royal family. I just thought that was stupid. But you kind of heard about it, like on the news back then. And I had heard that the royal family really did not like her. They thought she was vulgar and all this other kind of stuff. And then every now and then, like later on, like you would see her on like Oprah, or she was like the Weight Watchers spokesperson for a while. And she was always trying to do like brand ambassador shit. And I didn't realize this at the time, but they had gotten divorced. So she's technically not the Duchess of York anymore, but I think she was still kind of using that title. She just seems like real griftery to me, like from the shit that I read about her. And like I said, I didn't really know all that much about her at the time. She was just kind of this peripheral figure that you'd see on TV sometimes, and you kind of knew who she was. So I didn't really get. And she was also friends with Epstein, and I don't know if she. I mean, I'm sure she knew about the sex trafficking. Her main thing was she like borrowed money from the dude, or he like bankrolled her a lot too. Allegedly. I don't even know if I have to say allegedly, because I think they did actually prove that, but I'll say allegedly anyway, just to cover my ass. It's not like anyone's going to sue me or anything like that. I was like, sue away. It's like, I have nothing to take, so good luck. You know what I mean? But yeah, so like I said, I didn't really know. I think her dealings with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell seemed like it was mostly financial kind of stuff, but because her and Andrew were divorced at that time, even though they still lived together, and as far as I know, they still live together now, even though they're getting kicked out of their house. But and like I said, rightfully so, even though they divorced like back in the 90s. So whatever, like I said, whatever. so yeah, but she knew some shit about him too, and was friends and actually supported him even after all of the shit about him came out, which, like I said, that should tell you something about her character right there. Because there was all this stuff that came out later on, which I'll get into later, but there were some emails that came out that somebody leaked. They're not sure who, but somebody leaked a bunch of emails between him and Epstein, and her and Epstein, and they're just, you know, they were obviously like much closer than they tried to portray.
Epstein and who?
And Andrew and Sarah Ferguson.
Oh yeah,
Fergie.
Yeah.
So because she was friends with him too.
Well, the one thing about Epstein is that Epstein was friends with everybody. It's out now that he was an agent. He was a CIA operative, and he also a Mossad operative, and he was being paid by both of them. And it was his job to be friends with everybody doing these big social fucking events. So he was kind of an it dude. Ghislaine Maxwell, her dad was a big Mossad guy, and he did a lot.
Yeah, he owned one of those big papers in Britain.
Goes back to what I was telling you. like my family with, security contracting, defense contractor type networks, and I got them in the intelligence agencies too. It runs in families because it helps you pass security background checks and then your loyalty tests, shit like that. So they go, well, they're all interrelated. So yeah, they'll be all right. It's that shit's been going on for a long, long time. They don't just bring some new immigrant in from the middle of nowhere and then make him a fucking, give him nuclear secrets and shit. It's some fucking, General Dynamics. No, it doesn't work that way. They're all interrelated. But what I was trying to say about the whole Epstein thing is that it was his job to meet people and to try to smooze them and get dirt on them. That's what he did.
Well, yeah, that's why he filmed everything.
Yeah, and dirt is fucking how you grease the wheels of all that stuff to get leverage. Another thing is that I think a lot of the shit that they were doing had to do with loyalty tests. You want to join the crew? Come up to the island and party. We got some girls you can party with. It'll all be recorded, and that's your vow of loyalty. You can't betray us as long as we have that. But how do they release that? If they release that, that gives away the whole fucking deal. They said, where did that videotape come from? That's what they would say. Maybe they would frame it in a certain way to say it was in a hotel somewhere. But it was more of a way to just, I think, an initiation. And I think the girls were just party snacks, really. That wasn't the main thing. I think a lot of it had to do with, what do you call it? Fraud, arms dealing, money laundering, shit like that.
Well, he was definitely involved in some of that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm mostly going to focus on the Epstein shit because that's the juicy stuff.
That's what I was saying. The MC was doing that with all the people.
But he was involved in a lot of other scandals prior to that. Yeah. That, had like soured public opinion of him even prior to all the Epstein shit coming out. And a lot of it was misappropriation of taxpayer funds, which High Desert just said Andrew paid for a lot of hoes using taxpayer money, apparently. Yeah, it was shit like that.
That's normal for those guys, though. I mean, that's what they do. They don't date. They can't date. They hire professionals, all right? They don't have time to date. And they can't trust a real woman because she'll be clingy and then she'll go rat on you. With prostitutes, it's instant. You don't have to smooze them. They don't have time for that. They just want to have sex, and then if they weren't satisfied, get the fuck out of here. They pay for the silence. If they like them, they'll call them back. But the Epstein Island thing, people focus on the girls because that's kind of an atrocity, especially if you're from Florida, because they're taking these poor.
Yeah,
trailer park girls.
And a lot of them were abused by their families and shit like that.
They're pretty trailer park girls
advantage.
That were desperate, and they'd clean them up and promise them a bunch of shit and take them out to this island.
Promise them jobs and all this other kind of shit.
And over a period of time, they turned them into hookers, basically. Hookers.
That's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and then there's been about 6 of them that really did most of coming forward. And they were being threatened and shit.
Yeah, like
the 6
Epstein for real, like threatened to kill them and all this other kind of shit.
The 6 that came forward and said shit, 3 of them are already dead. All by weird circumstances.
It is a little fishy. I'm not real sure. Like I said, I'll get into that because we'll talk about mostly Virginia Giuffre because she's the one that wrote the book about it, and she was the one that was most vocal. There were other allegations, but it's like she seemed to be the one that really got the ball rolling. And I don't know. I'll get into that because there are conspiracy theories going around because it seems kind of weird that she unalived herself.
Got hit by a bus.
But
no, she was killed.
I don't know.
She was pushed into a bus, or something ran over her, and then the cover story was that it was a bus. She was making too much noise. They killed him. They killed her.
I mean, she had said prior. I mean, she said when she was younger that she said, well. She ended up doing everything that Epstein said because, one, he was like really good at manipulating people, and he had threatened her and her family.
They threatened the families too, yeah.
So she basically had to, like, she was kind of in his clutches.
It's easy to be a rich motherfucker to threaten who has all these connections with the top people of the fucking on the planet. Okay.
Yeah, they can do
Prime Minister of Israel.
Nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, your parents live in a fucking trailer park. And you're going to be able to defend yourself with the law. The law. You're going to be able to defend yourself with the law. Man, they fucking own the law.
Yeah, they know that. That's why they pick those girls specifically.
Yeah.
Because they know you can't do shit.
Can't do shit. They don't have the money or the wherewithal or the connections, and no one would believe them, and they would kill them without a fucking.
They would
just kill them. Yeah.
So it's like I don't doubt for a second. I don't doubt anything these girls said.
Yeah. They'd send cartel guys after them, or Mossad fucking guys, or subcontractors. Subcontracted assassins. Most of them.
Man, people have that much money, and particularly if you're a royal and you're used to just being catered to your whole entire life. Yeah. They don't even see people as people. They're not regular people. Everyone is just there to serve them and at their whim. And
if you fight them, you're an obstacle. They kill you.
Yeah.
They have private security companies staffed with some of the best dudes in the world. Fucking, two of my uncles from Task Force 160 Special Operations Aviation work out of Dubai. Okay, doing that shit. As helicopter pilots and bodyguards, and who knows what those dudes do. It's all Central American UAE clients and shit like that. They got cartel dudes, ex-military, ex-police, Mexican cartel guys on the payroll. They got fucking ex-special forces, ex-Delta Force guys, ex-task force guys. A real low-level one would be just an ex-cop who is a private investigator. That's one who's willing to kill people. You get private investigators and ex-cops, especially if they're ex-homicide, they make a good assassins because they have the training on how to catch murderers by the crime scene forensics. If you know the process by which criminals are caught, you know the process by which not to get caught. And they're balls, and the money's there, and they have a fucking boss with a shit ton of power that will save them if anything goes wrong, or they just kill themselves if something goes wrong. That's another thing. Some of these guys are deniable. If they're deniable, the guy knows the deal. Well, if the mission gets compromised, I'll just take myself out. That's the deal. But it was $1 million job with a high risk, with a high survival rate, so they take it. So but that's what you think you live in a trailer park is gonna be able to go up against these guys? No.
No, you're fucked.
Heads of state with private security guards doing heads of state? No. Nah.
It sucks. It shouldn't be that way, but it is.
Yeah.
CB says one former royal guard said if Prince Philip had smacked Andrew the first time he had told a maid to fuck off, he wouldn't be the way he is now. Somebody needed to kick this little bitch's ass, is what I'm saying. The fact that nobody did is why we're all suffering through this shit now. You know what I mean? But he needed to be smacked around or something.
Well,
he was a little shit.
They're a lot better than they were in the fucking medieval era. The fucking
it's
family
like,
were basically cartels.
I know that, but it's just kind of like, did you know? I feel like I knew this fact and then I forgot it and then I relearned it again. Is that the royal family refer to themselves as the firm?
Yeah,
like they're a mafia.
Yeah, it is.
Well, yeah, that's what. So I was like, well, at least they're that self-aware.
Yeah. The beginnings of civilization is a cartel, like an organized crime cartel. It's a protection racket. That's how governments become city-states back in the medieval era. That's how they start. Private army, basically.
Gramster says, true fact, Epstein's first victims were at a music camp in northern Michigan called Interlochen. He attended as a camper in the 1960s, then returned in the 80s as a donor and started his evil ways. I think, because we did a show about Epstein a long time ago, and I think I remember talking about that because I hadn't known that prior, and I remembered like finding that out when we researched it.
The dude was a sexual psychopath. He was a satyr. He had an insatiable sexual desire. Who needs 4 17-year-old girls a day? That's what he was doing. Who needs that? Who needs that?
And that's
who has the energy for that?
And it's like their whole life is like based around. It would have to be.
Yeah. The whole life.
Like you wouldn't have time to do literally anything else.
And he was doing other shit. He was using it as honey traps and shit, honey pots. But it was like a full-time job, evidently, according to the other girls, is that he had a bunch of other girls recruiting, and it was full-time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've seen like a bunch of, like I said, before we did the Epstein show, like I watched a bunch of documentaries about him and shit like that. This one I kind of focused on. I watched some Epstein shit, but it was mostly about Andrew and Epstein.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know as much about their connection. Because like I said, we don't really care about Prince Andrew over here.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, he's famous and shit, but who cares? So
I think they were just kindred spirits, man. They got along and they were making money together. That's what I
think it
was.
And it did seem. Yeah, CB said Andrew lied to King Charles, said he didn't know the girls were being trafficked, but the files released exposed his perverted ass. And I was like, okay, so the guy that wrote that book, I can't remember his name, but the book was called Entitled, and it was kind of about that. It was about Andrew, and he said that his sources, and he said he's a historian. He's like, I try to I won't publish stuff if I don't have the shit to back it up. He's like, they had a book of pictures of girls that you could pick, and Andrew picked Virginia Giuffre specifically. That looks like a catalog.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's kind of gross that you think, oh, they're just ordering girls like they'd order a takeaway, as they would say in the UK.
Yeah,
but it's like that's what they were doing. It's like a menu.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say earlier.
He's like, but they did have that.
Because we're regular people, we're focusing in on what they were doing with these girls. That was actually that was like nothing to them. That was like I said, that was the party snacks.
Well, like I said, they didn't care. That's about what they. Yeah,
those are the party snacks.
Those girls were literally like cocktail weenies.
Like cocktail wieners.
That's about how
like the peanuts,
they thought of them.
They're the peanuts in the bowl at the bar.
Which makes it even sadder.
Yeah, the real thing that they were doing was a bunch of money laundering, fucking arms dealing, a shit ton of fraud, helping basically business potentates get licensing on fucking products that probably weren't safe. They just did anything,
Yeah, they're just trying to enrich themselves.
Getting people elected to power with fucking bad money. I don't think we know the half of it. And fucking Epstein...
No, probably not.
Epstein was commanding an entire fleet of CIA civilian-looking aircraft. What was that all about? They just flying girls around and people around, and yeah, that's spooky. That's fucking. What is this all about? This is for the CIA and the Mossad. And why? What's the point? Are they trying to get what they call Greater Israel, where they wipe out the Middle East and then Israel's now big? Is that what they're trying to do? And they're doing it with taxpayer money and girls? We don't know. It's secret shit. They won't tell us. Or they don't know. That's another thing. They have a bunch of videotapes that have vanished, or they don't show us, though. Well, that's kitty porn. Well, yeah, but who was doing it?
Well,
we can't talk about that.
That's kind of important to know.
Yeah, well, we can't talk about that. You're not going to know, and it's probably destroyed by now.
Crampter says, when I did cop stuff, the pedos were always able to find other pedos, like they were on the same radar frequency. It was weird. Yeah, they do seem to hang out together, man. They have their own fucking networks. I don't want to know anything about that. But they do, man. Pedos hang together. It's so weird. That's their whole fucking personality.
Yeah, except technically he wasn't a pedophile. He was. There's another word for it. Somebody who likes teenage girls.
It's ephemophile or whatever.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right.
The true pedophiles will get into babies and 5-year-olds.
Yeah, but still, it's still gross. It's we just kind of use that as shorthand for gross, creepy old motherfucker.
The dudes there are some cultures like Japan is very creepy about teenage girls. Okay, very much so. This is even according to Japanese girls that talked about the shit. And it's always dudes with a fucking insecurity in their sexual prowess. They can't.
Well, that's obviously.
They can't impress an experienced woman. So they're trying to impress a woman that has no experience.
Right.
So that goes to show you these dudes that reach this level, a lot of times are lacking.
They're stunted.
Yeah, they're lacking. There's nothing to them.
Probably in more ways than one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing I assume, is that older dudes that go after younger girl, teenage girls and shit like that, I'm like, there must be something the matter with you. You have a tiny penis, or you're not very sexually experienced and you want to lord it over somebody that has less experience than you do, or you're emotionally stunted in some way or something. You obviously have some kind of problems.
Yeah. Well, if you're constantly seeking that out, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
But there's
And especially if you're like an old dude.
Yeah.
Like I think there's these dudes like
were
this,
not that old though when they started.
Well, no, not when they started. But it's like still, it's just like if you're 40 and the girls are like 16 or something like that. I'm like that to me. Once it gets to that age gap, I think it's also kind of like a little bit of sadism because they get off on the fact that it's like power. I'm making her do this. Like I know she doesn't really want to. Deep down, they know she doesn't want to, but it's like she's going to anyway.
I think so. And then there's financial domination.
That too.
Stuff like that.
Like I can make her do whatever I want because I just flash money at her
and her family,
and she'll do whatever fucked up shit I ask her.
Well, he also had a bunch of books on sexual slavery and shit, like fetish books on slavery at that island, how to keep slaves. It was written by. It was fetish material.
Yeah.
So he's fetishizing domination.
Yeah. Which, like I said, that's a fine fetish if everyone is consenting, but it's a little bit of a different situation here. A little bit of a different situation.
But according to the girls, Ghislaine was the worst one, though.
Well, she's a piece of shit, too.
Yeah, the woman, she would force them to have sex with her when they didn't want to, you know what I mean? And fucking, she was real mean. And
everyone's a piece of shit. Other than the victims, everyone is a piece of shit. In this scenario.
Yeah, so it's not just a strictly male thing.
It's not. Like I said,
Ghislaine was a piece of shit, too.
Well, it's funny.
The girls were more afraid of her than they were.
It's funny because I saw like part of an interview with Virginia like before she died, like maybe a year or two prior, and she said, like when all this shit started happening, because I'll get a little bit. We talked a lot about her getting recruited and stuff like that, like on the Jeffrey Epstein show. So I'll just kind of summarize it later. But when she first got into this stuff, she thought she was just getting a job. And she didn't realize like what all it entailed and shit like that until later, until they kind of sucked her in and started threatening her and stuff. So she's like, I don't mean, I thought it was so funny that she gave the caveat. She's like, I don't mean to sound sexist, but she's like, I expected this from a man. I didn't expect it from a woman.
Yeah.
Is what she said about Ghislaine.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't like it, obviously, that a dude was doing it, but it wasn't surprising to her. The fact that a woman did it was surprising to her. So I thought that was funny that she said that. Which is probably how I would feel, too.
I kind of think that Ghislaine was running it more than Jeffrey.
Well, she was the procurer.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, there was a background between her father and her also. Evidently, he was a Mossad agent and fucking had run sex operatives to get information to help Israel. And evidently, Ghislaine was one of his sex objects when she was underage.
Yeah, I think we talked about that.
And that he had trained her.
Actually, yeah.
He had trained her in sex operation, which, in other words, trying to desensitize her towards sexual activity when she was young. That it's just sex. This is what you do. Blah blah blah. The creepy shit.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes in with some of the shit the Germans were doing. Fucking pre-World War II. So the German intelligence agencies were evidently doing that. The Nazis were doing that kind of stuff too. Getting girls out of orphanages and little girls out of orphanages and doing stuff to them to turn them into sex operatives to get dirt on targets that they wanted. And then once they had dirt on those guys, because they were photographing them secretly, they could come back and run that guy on fucking remote control. Didn't give a shit about the little fucking 6-year-old girl.
Of course not. Why would they?
She's just evidently they kill those.
Yeah,
eventually.
That's just an object they can use.
Yeah, they got her out of a.
They don't mean anything.
Yeah, they got her out of an orphanage, and this was fucking 1930s, 1920s, fucking Germany during the collapse of civilization before the Nazis came, and it's according to the sources that I heard, they'd use those girls a couple times because they were orphans. Then they'd kill them.
That wouldn't shock me.
To silence them.
Yeah. Well, because they didn't want them like coming out.
They didn't want them growing up.
Growing up and like
saying, hey, causing trouble.
And that was fucked up.
Right.
And telling people about it.
Yeah, that's weird shit. And evidently that was going on in like the 20s.
And they were orphans, so who would miss them?
Who would miss them?
Yeah. It's fucking sad, man. People who just treat other people like objects are the fucking worst.
And it's been going on forever.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's always like a percentage of people that are like that. CB says, didn't one girl say Ghislaine, put a taser between her legs for refusing to make out with her? Yeah, it was shit like that. Ghislaine's a monster also,
Yeah, there was
just because she's a woman, we shouldn't like let her off.
There was also like an ethnic angle too. They had Giuffre at a housing complex, real high-end housing complex. I think it was here in Florida. That was basically kind of like a Jewish-only kind of housing complex. And they had a diner or a restaurant in the center part. And Giuffre was getting hungry. And she says, "Can I go get something to eat over there?" And she goes, "No, you can't go there and eat. There was no food in the house. You can't go over there. You're Jewish. Or you're not Jewish. They'll never serve you." Probably a lie.
Well, yeah, of course it's.
But
a lie.
they starved
everybody's money. Is
they probably didn't give a shit. But they had her afraid of going outside and being seen, a little blonde girl, that the Jews would kill her or be after.
Yeah,
it was probably just normal housing complex.
Well, yeah,
had a bunch of
obviously.
Jewish people. And then so she's like, so she went without food for like 3 days.
They probably thought it was hilarious.
They thought it was hilarious.
Shit. Yeah, because they're fucking monsters.
Because she's a little trailer park chick. You know?
Yeah, she doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's like, these are rich, powerful people.
Yeah.
You're supposedly supposed to trust them and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, they tell you this, oh, that must be true then. They know more shit than me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so that's what they were doing.
Fucking sad. So it's just, I mean, the whole fucking situation is just fucking tragic. You know what I mean?
I'll get you one.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, I'm empty. But yeah, like I said, everyone's a piece of shit in this situation. Other than the victims. Just the worst fucking people. Also, CB said someone close to King Charles said he would have executed Andrew if he could. Interesting. Not right. I mean, you know, not a big death penalty person, but, you know, for shit like this, I'm not gonna cry about it. Wheel out the guillotine. Let's go old school. You know what I mean? But, you know, so there's that. All right, so when Tom comes back with the drink, we will get started on the thing. Like I said, I just have like a brief, because I didn't know anything about his background. I really didn't hear. I just kind of vaguely knew who he was, and then when all the Epstein thing came out and they were talking about him, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. Who's that again? You know what I mean? So I was vaguely aware of who he was. So like I said, I don't really follow the royal family at all. And I'm still kind of hazy on like who's related to who and stuff. I know that he's Queen Elizabeth's son and King Charles is his brother, and I know all that, but you know what I mean? Like, other than that, I'm really hazy on it. So please forgive me. Like I said, I'm American. I don't do that stuff. So yeah. So he's not Prince Andrew anymore, even though I was watching a couple shows. Like, if there was a bunch of Australian shows, like 60 Minutes, they did a whole series on Epstein and Andrew and all this other stuff. They did shit about him like every week. Some of them just came out like a couple weeks ago, so I was watching those. And so I watched some British shows about it too. And it's funny because everybody still wanted to call him that. It's just like, well, technically he's not. Now he has just a commoner ass name like the rest of us, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. Which I also thought was kind of interesting. This woman that I was watching, she said, well, the royal family, they don't technically like have like last names, kind of. They just have like names that they use when they need to, you know what I mean? And that was, you know, Mountbatten was, you know, Lord Mountbatten, who, that was its whole, we should do a show about that dude too, because that was a whole other kettle of fish. But you know what I mean? And then they had the Windsor thing because of Elizabeth's family and all that. So that's what they named him. So he just has a regular ass name like the rest of us commoners nowadays. I love that they call the rest of us commoners. To me, that just kind of says it all, doesn't it? So yeah. So now he's just Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. He's been stripped of all of his titles, including prince, even though technically he is still by birthright a prince. So he's still 8th in line for the crown. He used to be 2nd in line, but now he's 8th in line. So unless he goes on a poisoning spree or something like that, I really don't see him becoming a monarch anytime, especially after all of this fucking shit happened. So he was actually born in 1960, and as I said, he was the 3rd child. Charles is the oldest, and then Anne, and then him, and then Edward is the youngest one. And so Queen Elizabeth II, his mom, and Prince Philip, his dad, who's the Duke of Edinburgh. Now, he was actually, fun fact, the first child born to a reigning British monarch in over a century. The last one was Queen Victoria having Princess Beatrice in 1857. So it was kind of like a big deal. Because the thing is that Elizabeth had had Charles and Anne before she became queen. Because I think she was crowned queen when she was like 25. So she'd had 2 kids prior to that and then became queen like when her dad died. So he was the first one born to a reigning monarch at the time. So as most young kids in fucking royal family were at the time, was obviously not raised by their actual parents. That would be weird. They're just raised by governesses and staff. You know what I mean? And he did go to Heatherdown School, and then he went to I think it's Gordonstown, I think that's how you pronounce it, in Scotland, where his dad and his older brother Charles had also gone. Everybody said he was kind of not a great student. They said not unusual for the royal family because, you know, they don't have to be good at anything. You know what I mean? They've already got money. It's like not like they have to be good at math or nothing like that. And they said even from a young age he was known as very, I think the diplomatic word they used was mischievous. I also heard him called a brat. There were some implications of some animal cruelty. But, you know, a lot of kids thought he was kind of a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, you know, kind of an asshole. Reportedly, this is also a fun fact, he had a laugh so annoying that his classmates dubbed him the Sniggerer, which I thought was very funny. So, now, I don't want to say fair play to him because he's a douchebag, but he did join the Royal Navy in 1979. So he went into a military career rather than university, which was a pretty common career path for second sons in the royal family. You know, there was precedent for that. So he actually trained as a helicopter pilot. He qualified as a pilot in 1981, and he was actually on active duty in the Falklands War in 1982. He was a Sea King helicopter co-pilot aboard the HMS Invincible. Now, there was actually some controversy at the time. It's like, oh, you know, we don't want to put a royal. They're fucking special. You know what I mean? You don't want to put them in combat or whatever. But the Queen said no, you know, let him do it. So he did it. So he did actually fly some missions, you know, and shit like that. He did search and rescue and stuff. So he did have a reputation, at least in the early 80s, as, I don't want to say it was completely positive, but he was seen as like a war hero. It's like he wasn't just some lazy ass royal sitting around playing video games. They didn't have that. Playing Atari or whatever, or whatever the equivalent would have been back then. It's like he did actually join the Navy. He did actually fly a helicopter. He did actually see combat. So people thought that was kind of cool. So they did kind of see him as a war hero, sort of, like when he came back. And he was actually in the Navy for 2 decades. He got promoted eventually to commander. And he was like a helicopter instructor and various other things. And then he got a diplomatic position with the Ministry of Defense. Now, he retired from active service in 2001, but he still kept getting honorary promotions up until 2015 when he was Vice Admiral. Now, as I mentioned, because we would get periodic shit about the royal family over here in the 80s, because especially after Princess Diana, I kind of feel like, because she was kind of, you know, they didn't call her the people's princess for nothing. She was kind of a popular figure, even in the United States. She was younger. She seemed kind of hipper. Like, she went to all the, you know, she liked Duran Duran. Like, you know what I mean? She seemed like a regular person in a lot of ways, like for a royal. And so a lot of people did kind of like her. So, you know, the Charles and Diana wedding was a big deal. But I think in 86, when Andrew married Sarah Ferguson, that was it wasn't obviously as big a deal as that, but I remember hearing about it. And I also remember kind of hearing about how the royal family really did not like Sarah Ferguson, especially because I believe that Diana was the one that had introduced them. Like, I think Sarah was a friend of hers. She was some, you know, they're all in the upper class scene. They're not just some, like, barista at Starbucks or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like they're not just some commoner, like I said. They're all in the same circle. But, you know, I think that's how they met. So Andrew and Fergie, as they called her, had 2 kids, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Both of whom are still princesses, even though their dad got demoted, I will note. But you know, they seemed to like each other, but he was still in the Navy, you know, until early 2000s. And so he was gone all the time. And both of them had affairs, not unusual in this kind of marriage, really. You know, been shocking if they didn't, you know what I mean? So there was that. So their marriage kind of started to deteriorate in the early 1990s, and then they separated in 1992 and divorced in 1996. However, even though they split up, they remained super close friends and even live together to this day, as far as I'm aware. It's not like they're living together in like a fucking studio apartment. They're living together in this massive fucking mansion, so they probably never even see each other, honestly. But they hang out all the time. They go to events together, shit like that. It's weird, but like, whatever. But yeah. And, you know, they had 2 kids together. They're grown now, obviously, but, you know, so they still hung out. Now, in 2001, after he left the Navy, he was given a appointment, a job, kind of, special representative for international trade and investment, which technically it's just kind of, it was just a job that they kind of made up for him. And essentially he was just, but it was kind of like an ambassador kind of role where he was just supposed to go to other countries and like promote British products or like, you know, trade with Britain. You know what I mean? That's kind of what he was, like I said, it's kind of a ceremonial role. I guess they did shit, but you know what I mean? So he did that for like 10 years. However, under the auspices of this position, there was a lot of reporting that he was abusing that position, as in like shit, like he would go on trade. He's like, oh, I'm promoting trade to the UK and stuff like that, and he would go on these super lavish vacations. Hey, I'm gonna go to Thailand and have sex with some lady boys or something like that. You know what I mean? But it all kind of on the taxpayer's dime. So obviously, even before the Epstein scandal hit, like, the British public were not super happy about this. You know what I mean? That he was misusing funds to just go and vacation and party. You know what I mean? With their money. So he actually did this until the late 2010s when the whole scandal started, and then they kind of made him go into exile. Now, I'm going to say, while he did enjoy some public popularity in the 80s and 90s, he was kind of, you know, he was an okay-looking dude for a royal. Like, he wasn't weird-looking or anything.
He always reminded me of Oliver Reed a little bit.
Yeah, slightly. I guess he was thinner when he was younger. Yeah. Like Charles said at the time that he looked like Robert Redford, and I'm like, nah. Have you seen Robert Redford?
He was kind of a beefy, chunky guy from what I remember.
Well, no, not when he was younger. That was just when he got older. Like, everybody kind of gets beefier and chunkier when they get older, but he was he wasn't particularly beefy, I didn't think, like, when he was younger. I haven't seen that much shit about him when he was younger. But he was okay looking, like, he was normal looking, like I said. But he was kind of known as being like, you know, a playboy. But, you know, because he had served in the military and had actually, you know, been in the Falklands War and stuff like that. So people kind of gave him some respect for that. But as all the kind of financial scandals came out, and he also had some kind of questionable, you know, not only financial dealings, but just associations with like some sketchy fucking people like arms dealers and shit. So the public was just kind of like, this dude's like not okay. So, and like I said, I will note that even prior to the Epstein scandal, his most popular nickname in the British press was Randy Andy, because he was known as being like a man-ho.
Yeah.
That he was always out partying, you know, hookers, young girls, like it, you know, it wasn't like a big secret or anything. He was also known as Air Miles Andy because of all the fucking flights he took. Like, yeah, because of all the flights he was taking on the taxpayer's dime, where he was just going on vacation or going to play golf or something and saying, "Oh, I'm working for the British people." Yeah. And everyone's like,
hookers and blow.
Yeah, I mean, essentially is what was happening, and people were kind of getting pissed off about it.
He's asking the guy,
and rightfully so.
Asking the guy at the front desk, send me a girl. You know, send me some girls up here. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But he was saying that he was on like a diplomatic mission or something.
Yeah, he's on a diplomatic mission for the Alderaan.
Yeah. So like I said, people getting kind of like pissed off about it. So this sketchy motherfucker.
I got a feeling most of those dudes don't have jobs.
Yeah, I don't
once you start
said,
making a couple million dollars a year, you don't have a job.
Not really. You can farm most shit out to other
yeah.
peons beneath you.
Once you're making that amount of money, you're just making decisions. You're not really working.
CB said Andrew thought his job was brothel inspector.
Yeah, brothel inspector.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah. That's a good job.
Tom would do that job.
I did it. I did it for a year up in Korea. I respected all them bitches.
You didn't get paid for it. You had to pay.
Yeah, I was paid. It's just all fun and games. They're nice girls.
Yeah, I mean, you said that you had...
Yeah, they're nice, yeah.
You had good experiences.
Yeah.
They were nice.
Yeah. It's not what you think it is.
They weren't weird or anything.
It's not what people think it is.
Yeah. Elizabeth
They chose me.
True.
Or the madam would choose one for it. You pick. Okay. Who needs the work? They were all acceptable. You know.
Yeah, Elizabeth said, why do they live together? That's so odd to me. Yeah, I kind of feel like... I mean, they seem like they were friends. It seemed like... I don't know if I'd call it a marriage of convenience necessarily, but they were both fucking around, and they didn't really seem to make much of a secret about it. So I think they were just kind of like hanging out. And maybe they were into the same depraved shit. Like I said, I don't know. Like, Fergie knew Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, too. And... she might have done some shit also. So there might have been that. Like, they were just two perverts, like, hanging out together. But I think Fergie, from everything that I've heard, like, I don't know her, obviously. But everything that I've heard, they're like, well, she was just real keen on making money and being in the royal circle. She just wanted to be rich and famous and be associated with that. So it's like whatever she could do to cling on to that lifestyle, she was going to do that, you know? So that's why she became a brand ambassador and kept using the Duchess of York title, even though she wasn't entitled to it anymore after they got divorced. And would kind of go and they're like, you know, every so often there'd be some scandal and she'd kind of go underground for a little while and then she'd come back out and reinvent herself. Oh, I'm so sorry I did that, blah, and then go on Oprah or whatever and, you know, try to like make amends. Like Oprah. They're like, it was just kind of like a cycle, like endlessly of her like fucking grifting like that. So yeah, that's kind of what it seems. But
does Oprah still exist?
I mean, she still exists as a human being.
Talking about the TV.
I don't know.
I don't think that's around.
Like I said, I don't know. I don't watch TV ever. She had a magazine too. I don't even know if that exists anymore. Yeah. I know there are still magazines. It's just I don't ever look at them, so I don't really know. Gramther says some dudes are addicted to getting as much strange as possible. It usually doesn't end well. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah, that's being a satyr.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Jen know someone like that. Scott's like that. You can't keep that bitch under control.
I know.
Yeah. And then fucking
CB says, how does this idiot not have every sex disease known to man?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure.
Me and Jen were talking about this earlier on, like fucking and like I think some dudes just have an immune system that can keep anything in check or fight off anything.
Maybe so.
Or there's good personal hygiene. You might hit something real quick. You fucking
because I can't see somebody like that being super super careful.
Yeah,
but maybe there are some weirdos like that.
I can't believe how I didn't catch anything.
I don't believe it either, honestly.
Yeah, but no, I don't have anything.
But you're not. I mean, you're a hoe. You were a hoe.
I was, yeah. Oh, I have my hoe miles logged in.
But you know,
they were all good chicks though.
Yeah. You weren't like fucking crack whores and fucking nothing.
But like I said, you know, I used to go to brothels when I was in service in Korea.
Yeah, in Korea, yeah.
They were all inspected though, and they were mostly all military.
That was a different situation. Yeah, it wasn't like street hookers or anything like that. It was all like sanctioned
military prostitution, really.
Yeah, they took you down there and they're like, hey.
Well, no, they don't take you down there. You go down there.
You go down there. Everybody goes. Everybody knows. It's not legal, really?
I showed Jen a documentary on it.
Yeah,
so she could believe me with how they actually did it over there.
No, I believed you.
Yeah,
it was kind of interesting to see it though.
The U.S. military and the Korean military got together for brothels to keep the American military guys out of trouble and keep them away from their women.
Yeah.
They're married
you
women.
could see the reasoning behind
Yeah,
it.
and then they also try to get us every bit of money out of the GI's pocket and into the Korean.
You could see, yeah.
Okay, into the Korean
makes sense.
economy. And so they had, a place called Hooker Hill, in Itaewon. It's still there. People are still doing fucking walkthroughs. But everything's low key. It's supposed to be kind of illegal now, and you're not allowed to go there if you're a serviceman.
Yeah. It's kind of, back in your day.
Oh, yeah.
Was it technically illegal?
No.
Because it wasn't illegal.
No, it was legal. It was legal. Outside every fucking door.
Because I wasn't sure if it was just like illegal, but we're just turning a blind eye. Or
no, it was legal.
Or if it was like Amsterdam.
Right next to every door was a fucking plaque that had an American eagle on it, and it had a date. And that was the last time those guys were in there. The medics were in there checking those girls out.
That's how it should be everywhere.
Yeah,
honestly.
and you pretty much only could go in there if you were a military serviceman.
Yeah, it was like specifically.
And so we were always checked, and they were always checked.
Yeah.
And that was the only strange we were getting when you're in country there.
Well, yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Fucking. And you use condoms.
Yeah.
Never got anything.
Yeah.
And, they're cool. And fucking. It's like a nightclub.
Yeah.
It's a nightclub environment. And they're fogging on you. And you don't. Women have a weird idea of how this shit works. Like, fat motherfuckers going in there and forcing some shit. That's not what it's like. It's like a normal club environment. You'd have like 3 or 4 girls trying to get your attention and pulling on you. And
yeah. Well, they tried to make it seem like a normal.
Yeah.
Like not like brothely. Like
yeah.
you went out to a club and these chicks all liked you. And...
The only thing that wasn't normal is to have like a. And they pick the good-looking guys first. The girls fuck up with and the guys that aren't that good-looking are not really getting many offers. It's not. And dudes will go up to some girl and fucking try to make a move, and they're like, nah. Because why would she fuck with you?
Yeah.
There's other guys that are there that she likes better that will do it and have money. So there's still the hypergamy thing. It's just not as rough as in like a club. You will get laid there. You will. Just if you wait long enough.
That's the whole point of the place existing.
Right. Although I don't think anybody gets turned down. It just might not be the girl that you wanted.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's like getting picked for a dodgeball.
Exactly.
In middle school.
And the hot girls, that work in there, the hot girls that are working in there are getting all the hot guys.
Yeah.
Because they can say no because they have a steady stream.
Yeah.
And then behind there is like a hotel. They live there. And they're beautiful rooms and shit, you know what I mean? It looks like Chinese Disneyland, big dragons and colored lights and stereo and shit.
Yeah, they try to make it like a nice experience. It's not like scuzzy or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit scuzzy.
Yeah, kind of. But, it's Eastern culture, though, so it's just a different situation. And, whatever. I was fucking like 20.
Yeah.
I was 20 at the time.
Gramther says, the brothels in Nevada make you clean the thingy with germicide wipes first, so I'm told.
Yeah, they
I don't doubt it. Well, like I said, I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Because it's like, you don't know where that motherfucker's been.
Yeah. No, she'd tell me you have a bowl, and fucking bowl with fucking soap and shit like that, and fucking, make sure everything's all fresh. She'd be doing that shit too, you know what I mean? You'd make out a little bit. She liked you. She'd make out with you and stuff, Come on, let's get this over with,
Let's get this over with.
Yeah, that's kind of the attitude, That's okay.
She's like, I got lots of customers.
What it is, Jen, you're a dude. You just fucking do your thing, right? You shake it off, go back to the club. Half hour later, you're ready to do it again. You're ready, yeah.
It's like, I only get one night of leave a month. I'm just
once a month.
I'm taking advantage. Yeah. But yeah. We do speculate. I am surprised you never got anything, but like I said, you're real clean though, so it's like so you're very diligent about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You always, as long as I've known you, you've been like that. One thing always I do wonder, we always speculate if you had a kid somewhere.
The numbers would say yeah.
I would imagine you probably do.
I've been to a bunch of all these different countries and moved.
I mean, because like I said, even if you're diligent about birth control and stuff like that, birth control can fail. It's only like 99% effective or so.
Yeah, sometimes there just was no birth control,
and sometimes there's that.
And I was apt to break a rubber too.
That's what I mean. It's like it's not shit like that happens, or they have like a little hole in them or something that you don't know about.
Some people I never saw again. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So we speculated that it's entirely possible that one of these days, somebody might, some 40-year-old person, well, they wouldn't be 40, would they? Probably been there like 30 or something like that. Some 30-year-old person come knocking on the door. Hey, you're my dad. Like, I was like, how fucking weird would that be? But I would be shocked if he didn't have a kid somewhere. Like, if half the shit he's told me is true. Because, man, like I said, it's funny because he has a super, super, super high body count. And I have a very, very relatively, not super low, but relatively low body count. At least well below average. I'm going to say that. And his is probably well above average. You know what I mean? But somehow it kind of works out. But yeah, I never really got the appeal. Like, and this is different because, like, obviously I'm a woman. So it's not as fun or appealing for us to just go and hit whatever moves because, there's a lot of dangers involved. There's a lot of, you could get pregnant and that would ruin your whole life. You know what I mean? So we have a lot more shit to worry about than dudes do. They might catch something, but we could also catch something. And then we also have, we might also get raped and murdered. We might get pregnant. We have all these other concerns. So you can't really relax. Even the couple times that I've done, like, I haven't really done a one night stand really, but it's like, I have picked dudes up in bars before, once or twice. And even then, you're always kind of like, man, am I doing the stupidest fucking thing ever? You know what I mean? And it's like always in the back of your mind. It's like, this dude could fucking kill me. You know what I mean? You don't know. So you're always kind of worried about that. So it's not really worth it, And, not to be mean, but like most dudes really aren't that good at sex. So it's like really not worth, it's not worth the dick. You know what I mean? The risk that you're taking. So that's why it's not as fun for us. Like for dudes, I can understand. Like it's super fun, but because they don't have as much to worry about. But yeah, okay, so now I have to go to the bathroom.
Go ahead.
And then I was waiting for you to come back. And then we'll get back into the...
Yeah, you got enough drink there?
Yeah.
How far along are we? About halfway?
About a third of the way.
About a third of the way? Okay. All right, let's see what we're talking about. Jenny, imagine if a woman showed up at the door looking like Tom with tits. I already had tits, dude. Look at that shit. All right. I got more meat titties than the average chick has boobs. What are you talking about? I got titties. Zach said, at 13 o'clock podcast, swear I saw a late night HBO bit about a brothel once. There was a hooker on it with a kind of tits that were flat and hang real low, and she was only like 20 or 30 something. Poor girl. Yeah. She probably had kids, you know what I mean? So after pregnancy, sometimes you get a little bit deflated. So yeah, that might have been what happened. But in Korea, none of that would have been tolerated. The standards were very high. Most of them were late teens, early 20s. Although sometimes you'd run into them. There was one that I hooked up with. She was gorgeous. And I was looking at her afterwards, and I was like, how old are you? And fucking she's like, she didn't want to tell me. She was 45. She looked great, though. But,
Who, one of the girls at the
brothel? Yeah. She was 45. I didn't realize I was dealing with Dragon Lady, You
You were like, whatever.
So you're 45, and I was like, you look great. And she was like, oh, well, thank you. She was just like, because she was kind of ashamed that she wasn't young. I said, you look fantastic. You look great. She started blushing. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Stevie says, Jenny, imagine if a woman showed up at the door looking like Tom with tits on.
Yeah, but I said I have tits.
Yeah.
They're meat titties. Yeah.
Everyone has titties.
Yeah.
They're called breasts, and everyone has them.
That's shit there, man.
That's a young
one. If I gain another 3 or 4 pounds up there, I'm going to need a fucking bra. No, I don't need a bra. I got internal support.
You want me to buy you a bra?
I don't need a bra.
I'll give you a training bra.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
I didn't even get a training bra, man. Like, I just went, like, it was, like, 5th grade, like, over the summer. Like, from 4th to 5th grade, it's just bam. Like, it all came out. And, like, I had to wear a bra in 5th grade, and, like, most girls were not wearing a bra in 5th grade, and holy crap, I got so much fucking shit.
Follow me on Instagram or YouTube.
Holy crap.
I posted a shirtless fucking picture Jen took of me, standing underneath the light bulb. And a guest we had on show, he's a famous Scientology protester named the Angry Gay Pope. He saw it because he was asking me. He says, "Dude, pose a shirtless pitch." He's trying to get me to go shirtless over. You know, I finally posted flirting. One, and he goes, "Oh, you look great. Love the vascular arms." You know,
yeah. I thought that was a cool picture. It was very moody. I like how it came. It's hard to get good lighting in this house because, like, we like it dark. We
have a bunch of indirect lighting.
We got nightclubby lighting.
Yeah.
So it's like we don't have any harsh overhead lights really, but that makes it really hard to take a picture. Like every picture you take is gonna have like weird magenta lighting or something like that because we have like all this weird lighting.
Yeah, and all look flat as hell in lighting like that.
Yeah, but it's like I like pictures like that, but.
Yeah, but we did a little quick mini photo shoot, and it looked like fucking off the poster Bronson.
Yeah.
The movie Bronson. If y'all haven't seen Bronson, man, you gotta see that.
Yeah, we were.
A Tom Hardy movie. Yeah, really good.
About a real guy.
About a real dude. About
a real crazy person.
England's most famous fucking convict. And after I saw the photos, I said, man, I gotta get
fun though.
Gotta get a fake mustache like he had, big long handlebar mustache. And do a fucking reenactment of the Bronson photo, the Bronson poster.
I can make it into a poster for you if you want.
Yeah, we do like a poster side by side. Pick a picture where you got him, we got him as Bronson and me as Bronson.
Well, if you want, I could do that with AI right now.
Could you?
Not right now, not right this second.
All right, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'd like to see.
Like if you give me that picture or one that's similar to that, I had to look at the poster again. I remember kind of what it looks like, but I have to look at the pose and the lighting.
Yeah. Because I gotta prove to our friend that I'm hotter than Tom Hardy eventually.
What? Who? To Amanda?
To Amanda. Remember that shit? We were at the club. She was talking about how hot Tom Hardy is. And I'm gonna beat him. She's, what are you talking about?
She's like, no, you're not.
I'm gonna beat Tom Hardy. I'm gonna be hotter than Tom Hardy. I just gotta lose a few more pounds.
She was just completely scoffing.
Didn't even know what I was talking about. What are you talking? I says, no, you wait. I'm gonna be hotter than Tom Hardy. Fucking once I'm finished. It didn't work, I guess.
I love her. She's awesome.
Yeah, Amanda's the shit. She's funny.
She loves Tom Hardy and she loves Morrissey.
Yeah.
Holy crap. She has a tattoo of Morrissey.
Mm-hmm.
Like her and her husband, Eric, like they come to the club probably once every couple weeks or something. And they're super fun. And they don't dance to many songs. Like they'll stand there and we'll chat and stuff like that. She will dance to Morrissey or the Smiths like every time. They dance to Berlin. Like they really love Berlin.
Yeah.
And the Ocean Blue. Like very rarely he'll play the Ocean Blue and they will dance to that. But it's like, but man, when a Morrissey song comes on, she goes ape shit.
Yeah. I'm gonna show you a picture of Amanda.
She is super funny. She's just super funny. And she just like does not have time for Tom's bullshit at all.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Where's the picture of her? She's got pictures of fucking Morrissey. Okay.
Like I said, she's got a tattoo of Morrissey's face.
Trying to find a good picture of her.
I have to say, interestingly, like this necklace here, this is H.P. Lovecraft, obviously, but there is a necklace like this.
Yeah, that's Amanda.
That's Morrissey.
That's Amanda.
Yeah. That's both of them. That's Eric
both of them.
That's Eric and Amanda.
That's Amanda and her husband.
Yeah. They're fun. I like.
Yeah,
them.
They're at the club all the time. Oh look, there's Amanda and Morrissey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't understand how much this girl loves Morrissey.
Morrissey comes on, she's fucking, and she dance good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, she takes up a lot of room.
Yo, she'll take up half the dance floor.
She'll take up half
dancing to Morrissey.
Just all over the place.
Yep.
It's super, super funny. But yeah. She's rad. I like her. They're both really super, super nice.
Yeah.
They've been around a long time. I think they're slightly young. Well,
no, they're my age.
I think they're
He's my age and she's your age.
Okay, so they're the same age as us.
Yeah.
I thought they were about the same age or maybe slightly younger. But yeah, they're about our age. Like I said, you wouldn't really know, but yeah, I think they're in their 50s also. So they're into
Horror wrestling fan think Tom. I think Bronson's in bad health at the moment. Yeah, probably he's an old guy.
I mean, he's old.
He's old and he's been living a rough life in prison, man.
Yeah.
You can't let him out. He'll get in trouble. Even though in America they would let him out a long time ago because what he was guilty of, that wouldn't give you very much time here. But he's a lunatic.
He seems like he'd be a repeat offender.
Yeah, he'd be a repeat offender here. He'd be in and out.
So he'd just be coming back in there and be like, oh, it's you again. And then finally they'd be like, you know what, just stay in here.
Yeah, he'd be a repeat customer.
We're just tired of letting you.
That's a great movie, though. If y'all have not seen a Tom Hardy movie called Bronson, and you like A Clockwork Orange, see it. Because it's kind of in the style of Clockwork Orange in a way.
Slightly, yeah. It's like the same ballpark.
Yeah. And it's about this crazy, but kind of a fucking likable dude.
And honestly, I'll watch anything Tom Hardy's in, pretty much.
Yeah.
He's just, I don't know. He has some kind of something. I don't know what it is.
I like Tom Hardy. One of my favorite British actors that's still alive.
I know since Morrissey has canceled on me 3 times. You're not the only one, bro.
Yeah.
He's kind of famous for saying, hey, I'm touring all these cities, and then canceling for some stupid bullshit reason.
He gets sick.
Is that why? I don't know. Maybe
throws a fit.
Maybe it's just like a power play.
Yeah.
That it's just like, he's like, look at all these people come to see me, and now you don't
Doesn't
get
feel
to.
good. You know.
I don't know what his problem is.
Tom.
He's super cunty.
My gangster boy, my gangster club boy, fucking Tom. Big Tom. He fucking loves Morrissey. It's the only black man I know that loves Morrissey. He's a big old fucking ex-Navy gangster. Owns mannequins. The club here.
Yeah. He looks like a big football player.
Looks like a big football player.
He's a giant.
You would never...
Dude.
And he's Southern. Big Southern black guy. You would never think that dude loves Morrissey and the Smiths.
He loves
He's a huge fucking fan.
So much. You don't even know.
And be sitting there drinking a 40 and shit in the middle of his club. And Morrissey comes like, that's right. You know. He goes, I went to see him and he was playing all that damn slaughtering those animals and all that bloody shit. I was mad. This says, you were mad? He goes, yeah, if he's trying to do that meat is murder vegan shit. He goes, I know, but I ain't paid to see that. I ain't paid to see that.
That's how Morrissey do, though. He's been doing that since the 80s.
He says, he made you mad. He goes, yeah, he made me mad.
Come on now.
And I said, you love that, man. He goes, I love that, man. It's just funny. I love that, man. Morrissey's a bitch, though, but that's why you love him.
He's a super bitch.
He's a bitch.
Oh, yeah, big time.
He's right, though.
He's always kind of been he's always kind of been a cunt.
He's a bitch, but he's right about a lot of the shit he talks about architecture and just politics. And he's right.
A cunt,
he's right.
He's a cunt. But
sometimes truth hurts. And fucking...
It's not so much that. He's just really what's the word I'm looking for? He's really condescending and he's really whiny. And I think that probably what he had to say would get across a lot better if he wasn't like that.
The thing is, though, he's always fucking smirking, like, fuck you. You know,
that's what I mean. He's very superior, and I think that's what people find off-putting.
I think there's an element of that. Man, we're talking about Morrissey. We're in the middle of it. Is British. It is English. So we'll just go.
So you're trying to justify it?
We're gonna go. We're gonna go with it. It's in the same thing. He is a bitch, but I think he knows he's a bitch.
I think he's leaning into being a bitch. And that's part of
his fucking...
That's his brand.
That's his brand. Yeah.
Being a twat is his brand. Yeah. And he's just leaning into it. That's what you're paying for. You know? You're a Morrissey fan. You want him to be kind of a twat. He's kind of a twat. He's always, like, worse in the last few years, but he was even a twat in the 80s, kind of. All right, so let's get back to the topic at hand. I know, surprise. So, the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew, allegedly, reportedly, whatever the word you want to use, whatever adverb, first entered Jeffrey Epstein's orbit in the late 1990s. Now, I have seen some sources, albeit unverified, that said that it was earlier, that he might have known him even in the the late 80s, early 90s, something like that. In the context of the story, doesn't really matter, I guess. Now, they think probably that he was introduced through, Ghislaine Maxwell had known Andrew for quite a while. I think they'd known each other since the 80s. Some sources claim they dated. I've seen that disputed, that he had dated Ghislaine. So I don't know how established that is. About half the sources said, yeah, Andrew dated Ghislaine Maxwell back in the day because they'd known each other for a long time. Half said no, they were just friends, but they did know each other for a very long time, since the 80s. So yeah. Now, as we mentioned earlier, Ghislaine Maxwell was the daughter of the media tycoon, Robert Maxwell, who owned some big newspapers in Britain, and mysteriously died, like, on his yacht somehow. Didn't they figure out that he had just, like, fallen off his yacht while he was, like, drunk and peeing off the yacht or something like that?
Her dad?
Yeah.
It's always been...
Or they thought it was, like, fishy somehow.
Yeah.
He was this kind of a scumbag.
He was the kind of guy that had done a lot for Israel in the intel world, had built up a bunch of bad karma, probably knew a lot more than really he should have. He was the kind of guy that you would suspect you might have to knock off eventually. And his death was mysterious. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. But he had a mysterious death. But
Yeah, he fell off his yacht somehow.
Yeah, he fell off and drowned, but he could swim.
I mean, yeah.
Okay? There's a lot of fucking weird things about... Yeah, he drowned. Let's just leave it at that. He drowned. Did he? Probably not. Probably not.
I was gonna say because
it would have been convenient if he died. That's one of the specialists on that topic of him. I remember him saying that there's no proof of anything, but it was very convenient for a lot of people that he did die. So, but they're very good at covering tracks and leaving plausible deniability. You know, just.
Well, I mean, pushing somebody off a boat is like a pretty good way of.
He could swim.
Pushing somebody off a cliff is better.
Yeah.
Because
that boat was like,
I'm just gonna say, because like, you know, oh, he could swim, he wouldn't drown. But if you push somebody off a cliff, well, he can't fly, can he?
You fell off the boat. Big fucking deal. It's 3 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. He drowned. He was drinking. I could fucking swim and do all kinds of shit, just drunk as fuck. Just, you know, what are you talking about?
Maybe a shark.
Trying to say he couldn't swim? I think Jews can swim. You know, can't Jews swim? I can swim.
I'm pretty sure most people can swim.
Yeah. No, the Chinese can't swim. It's rare that you can find a Chinese person to swim. They're not raised to swim. Their parents don't teach them to swim. But Jews, I think, teach their kids to swim. Wouldn't surprise me. If you are Jewish and you can't swim, why the fuck you have a boat?
I would think that having a boat, you would kind of need to learn to swim.
And you're an intelligence operative?
I mean,
worth a lot
knowing
of money.
how to swim doesn't preclude you from drowning. Like, lots of people that know how to swim, divers and shit like that, drown all the time.
From a head injury.
Just from head, or, you know, various other factors.
Yeah.
But, so that doesn't, you know, say that's never going to happen to you. It's just that if you're going to be around water all the time, which is why, like, because I grew up in Florida, so I'm probably, like, biased, obviously, but it's just kind of like, man, they teach kids to swim, like, when they're babies.
I don't even remember learning how to swim.
I don't either.
My mother taught me to swim when I was an infant. So
I don't remember learning
second nature. I don't even remember learning how to swim.
I don't either.
I
mean, I'm sure I did. I just don't remember because I was so young.
South Americans, Central Americans, North Americans teach their children to swim. Now, when I was in the Army, a lot of black dudes didn't know how to swim.
They didn't live in an area.
They didn't live in an area where to swim. Hardcore Mississippi, Louisiana, country black people could swim. Because they grew up just the same as us.
Just around water.
And their parents teach them how to swim. City, no, not as much. And that's why the Chinese people don't know how to swim, because they come out of cities.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Daytona Beach. I literally grew up right, like, 2 blocks from the ocean.
It behooves your parents to teach you to swim when you're very young, or you'll drown.
And we always lived in...
you're around water.
Well, and we always lived in apartment complexes that had pools. My dad worked doing pool maintenance for a while. So we always swam. Like, we were never rich enough to live in a house that had a pool, but a lot of houses in Florida have pools. Yeah. So most people, they're like, look, even if we don't have a pool, like, the neighbors have a pool, they might be at their friend's house and they have a pool, the kid better know how to swim, because if they fall into pool, we want them to get out without drowning. You know what I mean? Because it's very common for kids to drown down here.
Evidently, now my information might be out of date, 95% of the Chinese cannot swim. And then
I don't know.
4%, because I saw...
Well, like I said, I don't know.
Yeah, they can't swim. They don't teach it. They'll go into a pool, but the pools are shallow. And they're very much afraid of swimming. What's the name? Serpent ZA said they would go out swimming and the fucking dudes in boats would come and try to bring them back and go, no, we know how to swim. And then they were scared. They didn't want to. The lifeguards didn't want them out in water over their head, whether they could swim or not, because Chinese can't swim, in general.
You know what the weird thing was? My grandma, who was from Tennessee, she would not swim because she said she did not like water in her face. She wouldn't. For that reason, she took baths her entire life. She would not take a shower because she didn't want water in her. Like it freaked her out. So she never learned to swim either.
Yeah.
But so it happens. Like, and she's Southern as fuck. She was Southern as fuck.
Yeah.
But you know, but like I said, when we were kids, we grew up around, you know, our cousins' families had pools. Like, there was springs, and like I said, we grew up right on the ocean. So it's like, you better fucking learn how to swim or you're in big trouble.
I can't even remember learning how to swim.
No, I don't remember either.
By the time I was 5, I was already swimming. I don't remember how I learned to swim. I don't remember how I learned.
I don't remember either.
Yeah.
Well, I think, nowadays, most, because I had a friend that had a kid years ago, and they have classes for babies. Like, they'll teach babies, because they said, if your baby falls in the pool,
newborn can learn to swim.
Yeah, they can teach them to swim, like if they're toddlers, you know what I mean? They teach toddlers how to swim. It's just a safety issue. Like I said, you don't want them wandering into a neighbor's pool. You want your kid fucking drowning? Yeah. So it's like, so they try to teach them to swim as young as possible.
Yeah.
So she taught her daughter to swim when she was 1.5, 2, something like that. So I don't really know how I learned to swim. I just always knew how.
Yeah.
That I can remember. So it must happen when I was little. Because we were, like I said, we were always around water. And we grew up we grew up right on the ocean. And
I don't even remember learning how to do it.
No, I don't either. So, but like I said, I know not everybody has that experience. If you're like landlocked, obviously you're not going to have that opportunity. So where was I? Okay, so I will note, and I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but so he met Epstein in 1999. That's kind of the main. There's reports that maybe it was earlier, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. Now, I will note here that, as I sort of referred to, Andrew has always been known as an imperious, bullying asshole by pretty much everyone. Who constantly berated staff and journalists, made racist comments, shit like that. Like, he's just not a pleasant person to be around. Pretty much everyone that worked at the palace, at least anyone that was willing to speak up, said, he was the hardest, or he was always, like, having tantrums when shit didn't go his way, and he was just, like, a dick, you know what I mean? He was always, like, calling people names. Like, he called one maid, I think, like a lardy cunt or something like that. Like, he's just like a complete asshole. So, as I said, because Charles was the heir and he was the spare, it's pretty common that those kids are given a lot more leeway to kind of do what they want. And because he was the queen's favorite, basically he was kind of raised like he could do no wrong. So he was very, very entitled, which many, there's like hundreds and hundreds of witnesses to this behavior, said that he just acted like his shit didn't stink and he could just do whatever he wanted. Everyone else, he just bossed them around and called them names and shit like that. I also want to mention, this is my favorite story about Prince Andrew, the former Prince Andrew, is that apparently in his room, I don't know, I think this was even when he became an adult, okay? I'm not real clear on the timeline. But I think even when he was an adult, he had like this collection of teddy bears, which there's nothing wrong with that. I like teddy bears. But he had this collection of teddy bears, and man, if you did not put, and we're not talking like a little bit, it was like a couple hundred teddy bears, okay? And like, if you didn't put them back exactly in the spots where their designated teddy bear spot, he would have a fucking meltdown. Like, and several staff members said this. That it's like, man, if you didn't arrange his teddy bears right, he was flipping out on you. And you were not having a good day. So, you know, don't mess with former Prince Andrew's teddy bears is all I'm saying there. So, like I said, nothing wrong with a teddy bear collection. I like teddy bears. But, come on now. Don't be fucking berating the waitstaff for misarranging your teddy bears. So, probably because he is an asshole and Epstein is also an asshole, they gravitated to one another, you know, like magnets. So he meets this dude. Like I said, we did a whole show on Epstein, so I don't go too much into him. But, you know, he was kind of this, you know, American financier, they call him, who, when he kind of emerged, he was sort of mysterious because nobody really knew who he was or where his money came from or anything like that. So I think a lot of the shit kind of emerged from initially, like, the Vanity Fair piece that was done about him. Like, they were like, man, who is this guy? Like, he just appeared in fucking New York society and he has all this money and we don't know where it came from and that's really weird. So it's like, you know, why don't you go do a story on him? And she came up with all kind of shit, but then they wouldn't let him print it. You know what I mean? Which, like I said, which we talked about on our Epstein show. So if you want to watch that, that was a while back. But yeah, so as we know now, dude was a complete piece of shit and a sex trafficker. Had a private island, Little St. James, and had orgies and sex parties with underage girls, to which many famous and well-known people were invited. He had a private plane, which they dubbed the Lolita Express, because as if that wasn't enough on the nose. And he would fly people here and there and that. And he had 3 different houses. He had a townhouse in Manhattan. He had a Palm Beach house. And he had, like I said, his private island. And so there was all kind of shenanigans, if you want to call it that, like going on at all of these places. And as Tom said, he does have some pretty shady intelligence connections, which many have speculated is probably why. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't into this shit, because he was, but I think he was doing all this for larger purposes too, like for blackmail purposes and stuff like that. So, he was apparently very charismatic and was very good at, like, connecting people. And even the former Prince Andrew said as much, said he had, and this is a quote, extraordinary ability to bring extraordinary people together. And I'm guessing he's lumping himself in with that extraordinary category. I beg to differ, but okay. So yeah, now there are, you know, as most people probably know, like the flight logs from a lot of his jet flights show that Andrew traveled on the Lolita Express multiple times. And he went to Little St. James in February of 1999 that they know of. And there are several photographs of Andrew with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell at many different events. Some of them are at Mar-a-Lago. Some of them are at Windsor Castle. So they were friends. So by 2000, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and the former Prince Andrew were together. I don't know about all the time, but they were together a lot. They were photographed together a lot. And Andrew even invited them over to Britain and hosted them at, like, royal properties. Balmoral Castle, Sandringham, like, places like that. Now, in 2006, Jeffrey Epstein, like I said, as most people know, was under FBI investigation for sexual abuse of minors, which happened... It kind of started happening, like I said, we talked about this in the Epstein show, but basically what happened was he was doing this shit in his Palm Beach house where he was recruiting underage girls, like you said, like from trailer parks, like vulnerable, pretty girls, and saying, hey, we'll give you like $200, just give me a massage. And then when you got there, like other shit would happen.
Yeah, well, that was eventually. My understanding is what they would do is they would try to recruit them for jobs, modeling jobs, and shit like that first. And then once they had them, they put them up in places, and these are very high-end places. They'd be impressed, and they'd try to befriend the girls. And I'd go, here, come here, give me a massage. Give me a massage. And it was like shit, like $20.
Yeah,
it wasn't that much, but they were paying them to hang around.
Well, and plus they wanted to see what their boundaries were.
What they could get away with.
What they could get away with.
Yeah.
That's how predators work.
Right. And they were doing things like fucking... If she was like a real impressive girl who had good grades, because they recruited from different venues. If she had good grades, they'd start coming at her with oh, there's a really good college we can send you to, and after you graduate from that college, you can come work for us at this.
Well, that's what they did with Virginia. They said, we're going to send you to this massage school. It costs all this money. And she was like, she was from a trailer park. She was 16,
and I think Virginia, they got Virginia from Mar-a-Lago, didn't they?
They did, yeah. She worked there.
She worked in like the coat room or something. The coat room.
I think she worked, if I remember correctly.
And where Mar-a-Lago
they got a lot of chicks
has a bunch of facilities there. And it's their staff is like good-looking people. And it had to be good-looking girls there. And he poached her out of fucking Mar-a-Lago with a bunch of promises. And they try to tie that in with Trump and stuff. But Trump didn't...
he's absolutely involved. He is all over that shit. They knew that even back when Ghislaine was getting convicted.
Yeah, he knew them. But he got pissed off.
I don't believe that.
Well, people can believe what they want to believe. But he poached her out of the fucking coat room there, and Trump got pissed off about that.
Yeah,
and
that's
they banned
the story
him
that
from
he told. That's the story that he told. I don't believe that, not for a second.
Well, you can believe that everybody's fucking everybody doing that, maybe, but there isn't any evidence. It's just what people think. These are all powerful dudes.
Yeah.
And they're fucking poon hounds. They just are. That's just how it is. I think the same dude knew everybody else though too, and they're not getting accused.
Whoever was involved with that should go to prison.
But the thing is that there's people that were involved with that knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. They even went to fucking...
Oh yeah, not everybody that was on the plane or anything like that. Like not all of them knew.
Right.
I'm not saying that.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. There have been people over the years. They had one dude's wife, I don't remember his name, saying, "Yeah, we knew there was something." I think it was one of the senators said, "We knew there was something up with that Jeffrey Epstein guy. We just had a feeling about it because he was just always around, and there was always these young girls, but nobody did anything about it." And that's what the wife said. So he knew everybody. It was his job to know everybody. He was trying to get involved with everybody. Was Trump fucking them little girls up there?
Yes.
You have to have proof.
Oh, there are multiple accusations. I talked about that on the Epstein show a long time ago. People have known about this for a while, ever since the Ghislaine Maxwell trial.
Okay.
That's why he doesn't want the shit released.
No,
he released it and everything's blacked out.
I don't think he did that. Other people did that.
No. He had that done.
All right.
That's why they delayed it so long. He ran on releasing that.
Well, then why didn't...
And then he didn't release it. And then, now we'll release it now that my name's been blacked out and everything.
Why didn't fucking what's his name release it?
Because he couldn't legally release it then because it was still part of an ongoing investigation. So he wasn't allowed to release the files at that point because it was still part of, it was still under lock and key.
Maybe.
So he couldn't release it.
I don't know. I wasn't there. And
I said, whoever is in that shit should fucking hang.
They'll never catch him.
But I know that wouldn't happen, but ideally that's what should happen. I don't care who the fuck I don't care if I like him or not.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. None of that will ever come out. Because the minister of fucking Israel was one of fucking Giuffre's fucking main clients, and he was beating her up. And they'll never fucking... sacrifice Israel.
People are wondering too because this dude Epstein, like I said, his whole thing, like he was into it, but his whole thing was getting dirt on everybody too. So he has dirt, and I feel like that dirt is probably everywhere. Many people have speculated that like fucking Putin has a bunch of that shit, like videos and everything, that he's holding for certain purposes.
Nah, he would have released that.
But like I said, he might be waiting for the right moment. I don't know. So the shit might be out there.
It's probably more likely that it's shit like the head of fucking powerful banks.
Yeah, like most of the people, like when I was reading through the head of
the head of Harvard got fucking...
Well, the bullshit that they released that was complete, like all redacted, I'm like, what was the point of this? Because they took everyone's fucking name out. You know what I mean? It's like, that wasn't... But even the people that we knew of that were kind of like named in there, I was just kind of like, it wasn't really
Yeah.
Most of them I didn't know who they were, but like I said, they're probably like rich and powerful people. Ooh, somebody cares, but it's like I don't really care. You know what I mean?
It's
like
probably,
I said, whoever is in there,
yeah,
should fucking hang just like anybody else.
Well,
like
they never will though.
I don't get. Well, I know they won't.
They never will.
They should, because they're just fucking people.
Should,
like the rest
will,
of us.
coulda. These are just regular trailer park Florida girls. They're never gonna fucking sacrifice dudes that run the world on those little girls. That's just.
Well, I know.
There's the mythical idea of equality. No, people aren't equal. That was something that was dreamed up by white Christian dudes in the 1700s during the fucking Christian fucking what do they call it? Not Reformation, but no, you're not equal.
No,
people
like I
that
said,
have money and have a bunch of power,
but you're not.
But you're not. No.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
It's
the
not
Christian
really,
Enlightenment.
It's not really a world I want to live in.
Yeah.
But
it's been the same world since the fucking
No, I know.
5,000 years.
I don't
it's been
belong
this
here.
way.
Burley Kev says Clinton. Yeah, people have said that he was in there.
Yeah, they said he. Yeah, they said
like
he
I
was there.
said, he was an alright president, but it's like if he's in there, fucking hang him too.
Well, so was Hillary.
Yeah,
Hillary, and they're all.
Whoever's in there.
I
don't give a shit if I like him.
I guarantee you what it was is it was a nexus of Israel and the United States in terms of CIA and Mossad. All the rich people that you know from the Republicans and the Democrats. A bunch of fucking rich Israeli people, the Prime Minister of Israel. All the movers and shakers in industry and in the fucking tops of the university. Dude fucking in charge of Harvard was up in there. In other words, the nexus of Western civilization was all up in there partying. And the fucking party peanuts were these fucking young fucking Florida chicks. And they were the sideshow. They weren't even the main thing. Because we're parochial, we're making it a big deal.
It is a big deal.
But we're parochial compared to them. They don't think that. Because they don't give a fuck.
Because they're sociopaths.
Human life doesn't mean anything to them.
They're sociopaths.
Your concept of consent and age doesn't mean anything to them.
I know that.
Those are all fictions that
have been
made
shitty.
up.
Like, why are you acting like that's cool or something?
No, I'm not like this. I think it's amazing that that's the way it really is.
But everybody knows that.
That's the way it really is.
They're trying to like not make it like that because that sucks.
The way it really is ancient Rome. Ancient Rome and fucking, what was his name? Emperor Claudius on his island of Capri that was set up like a little fucking...
Don't give dudes money
grotto.
Is the lesson there.
What's that?
Don't give dudes money is the lesson there.
Yeah, when you have money and power, the island of
They'll
Capri...
abuse it every fucking time.
The island of Capri was a paradise.
They can't be trusted.
They had little boys...
Too emotional.
Little boys and little girls dressed up as nymphs and satyrs and little pan flutes and shit. And Emperor fucking Claudius... no, his name wasn't Claudius. What was it? No, what was his name? I just said his name. Fucking... And he's up there fucking molesting these little kids. And if they pissed him off, he'd throw them over the fucking... ledge. And one of them little kids was fucking Caligula, who grew to become the next emperor. That's the way it really is. That's the way the world actually works.
Yeah,
and
like I said, it sucks.
All these morals and all these laws are for you, the regular people. That's the fucking amazing thing about it. It's all illusion.
Yeah.
It's all illusion.
But like I said, ideally...
Yeah.
Like I said, because we're all hairless apes.
Yeah.
All of us. I don't care how much money you
that's
have.
why I'm laughing at it.
Like I said, we're all hairless apes. And the fact that we treat some people different because they have more paper than other people have is ludicrous. Ludicrous. They should suffer the same fucking consequences.
No.
Look, if I did this shit, I would never do this shit, obviously. But it's just like,
you'd
if I
be
did
locked
this shit,
up and fucking
they would throw away the fucking key.
Hell yeah. Same thing with me. They'd fucking cruise. But
they
can do it. They can do it,
and it's fine.
Yeah.
People make excuses for it. Yeah. People just, she did this and that. She was asking for it. They'll come up with every kind of... They will defend the billionaires at every fucking turn.
They are the gods on Mount Olympus. Fucking, I was up the biker bar, drunk off my ass, and mentioned this one time. And there was a dude there in his 60s. Oh, yeah, they were fucking up them slutty girls. And I said, what slutty girls? talking about those girls were underage, and he was like, yeah, but they had sluts
But
anyway.
they had it come.
Yeah,
See?
yeah, they had it come.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what
That's how they get you.
They knew what they were doing.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
All these like the fucking 1%, they don't give a shit about you.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And it's like they will say anything. Oh, they were 13. They were so slutty. They had it coming.
Well, here's the thing. That dude wasn't rich. He was the fucking groundskeeper.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's how good the propaganda is.
No, I think what it
is they fucking buy it even if you don't have any money.
I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Because what, you think you're gonna be one of them someday?
No.
You're not.
No, that's not what. It's like a bell curve. The people at the very top of society have morals very similar to people at the bottom of society.
Yeah.
We're more in the middle. And
we're what you call normal people.
We're like normal people. Yeah, yeah. That's what I was trying to tell you. The dude that was like, yeah, those slutty girls, he's like an alcoholic boomer.
Yeah.
Who fucking
I know the type.
Who fucking is just like he's just 100% redneck. He fucking mows lawns at the fucking golf course.
Sure.
And drinking himself to fucking death.
I know the type.
And
I grew up here, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
They're all like that.
Yeah,
They're
man.
all like that.
And he's just like, kind of like...
They're stupid motherfuckers.
Scum.
I'm sorry. They're stupid motherfuckers.
And here's the thing. The difference between him and the dudes that actually run the world is only the amount of income.
Yep.
Yeah. Shit floats.
True that. Sure.
Shit floats.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So people with money are like the shittiest people.
Yeah,
and you know, they're not all, but the large majority.
To amass that amount of power, you're a psychopath.
You have to be.
You have to be a psychopath.
Person. Really.
Because your job is to put other people out of business and fuck their families over and to fucking get rid of your competition. It's very much Darwinism.
And they have a very, I mean...
You must be a high-functioning psychopath. And I would never fucking deny that Trump isn't a high-functioning psychopath. He's a high-functioning psychopath. Very much so.
He's also a moron.
No, he's very smart.
No, he's really not.
If he was a moron, he never would have defeated everyone else.
He's really not.
He
only defeated everyone else because everyone else is a bigger moron.
They're kind of dumb too, but what he's doing is he loves to troll, and then when a person reacts to the troll, he then makes fun of you. So he knows mass psychology. It's like psychological warfare.
He's like a child. Though.
Very much so.
He's like a
yes,
child.
but that works.
Not on me.
That works at that level.
It works on stupid people, I guess.
He's running the world.
It works on stupid people.
Yeah, the world is the average IQ is 100. Is 100. The average IQ is 100.
Oh, Burley Cap says, "Did you like Begonia?" I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I will watch it though, because that's like next on my list.
The average IQ is 100. That's dumb.
It is dumb, but you know.
And that's why I don't fucking make any qualms about the myth of equality. The only people that want equality is that for them, that's a move up. For me, that would be giving up almost 45 IQ points.
I think people, I think people have a weird misconception about what equality means.
They do.
Equality just means...
equal access to the law.
No. Everyone's treated the same. You have equal access to the law. Everyone's like,
Right.
It doesn't mean everyone gets the same shit.
A 100 IQ person sees equality as everybody gets the same shit no matter what they do.
That's not...
You are not 100 IQ.
Yeah, no shit, I'm not.
Right.
But I'm just saying that it's just kind of like...
I'm gonna go to this one.
Can I? Well, can I get another one and come back?
Yeah,
but yeah, that's not what I mean. And I think that and the word equality is thrown around like disparagingly, using a misidentification. That's not what we mean when we say equality. I don't mean everyone should be treated the same as like depending on like everyone's the same. Like obviously everyone's not the same. Everybody has different proclivities. Everyone has different aspects. Everyone looks the same. They have different abilities. They have this and that and the other. Obviously, we need to fucking acknowledge that. It's like everyone should be treated the same under the law. That's all that means. It's not really controversial, I would think, but some people apparently would argue with me, I guess. But yeah. So
equality to a 300-pound woman says I should get the same man that 100-pound woman should get.
See, but like I said, that's not what it means.
But that's what they think it means.
Well, they're stupid because that's not what it means.
And then the people that manipulate them know that.
I know.
And then fucking just that.
I know. Like I said, I'm in marketing.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I'm in advertising. You know, I gotta explain it. I know how people are manipulated.
Yeah.
You know, so like I said, that's my whole. It's not my whole job. It's just, but I'm in advertising.
Sales and marketing. Yeah.
I'm in advertising, so
right.
I know how people are manipulated. So it's just kind of like, duh. But people use buzzwords to mean something that it doesn't actually mean. Because like I said, the real world is a lot more nuanced than, you know, just slogans or fucking words or whatever. But, you know, most people are just kind of like at the slogan bumper sticker phase, I guess. That's unfortunate, but like I said, that's, you know, that doesn't mean we should treat them any different. It's just that you can't really let them run shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't let them run shit. That's all. So yeah. So here's the thing. So these three were obviously very close friends, okay? Like Andrew, they flew over there and stayed with fucking Andrew. There was even a picture, I saw this picture on like one documentary I was watching, of Ghislaine and Kevin Spacey at one of, I can't remember what property, but it was some royal property, right? Like it was somewhere where you don't just go and fucking fart around. And they were like sitting in the thrones, right? Like, and it was a picture like, hey, look at us, we're in the thrones, you know what I mean? And the girl I was watching that was doing this, she's like, look, I know somebody that knows Prince William or Prince Harry or whoever. And it's like, and I went to a wedding at this place one time. It's like, you are not allowed to sit in those thrones. So it's just kind of like, so the fact that Prince Andrew let these motherfuckers like run around in there and just sit in the thrones and everything like that and take pictures like it was all just fucking Monday morning, it's like that should tell you something right there. It's like, obviously there's like a lot of influence. So the thing about it that, so even after Epstein was arrested the first time, you know, in 2006 when Epstein was under investigation, you know, for sexual abuse of minors, like I said, we talked about that in the Epstein show, where somebody in Florida, like one of the girls' moms called the cops and was like, hey, like this Epstein dude, it's like he's supposedly like recruiting all these underage girls and giving old men massages and all this. You might want to look into that. So like the cops like actually did go investigate him at that point. So even despite all of that, like Andrew like maintained his friendship with them. And Andrew also invited him, this is kind of fucked up in hindsight, invited him and Ghislaine to his daughter, Princess Beatrice's 18th birthday party at Windsor Castle, which, like I said, in hindsight is kind of horrifying because he was just kind of like scoping on the fucking daughter the whole time, probably, allegedly, because that's what they do, right? Ooh, she turned 18, she's legal now. Or actually, probably now that she's legal, they're not interested anymore. But knowing these motherfuckers. So Andrew, he kind of always, as fucking clueless as he is, he always maintained that it's like, oh, you know, it's just a social relationship, it's a professional relationship, he's offering me networking opportunities, blah, 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 blah. But even at this stage, before all the shit really blew up, this was, like I said, this was Epstein's, like, first arrest, like, in Florida, which I feel like wasn't even, I mean, obviously it was a big deal, but it was, in the media, it wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't like when the shit really went viral later on. The fact that he was still associating with this dude who there was even a hint that he was, like, trafficking minors, it doesn't look good, like, on the whole family. So the royal family were like, you know, why are you still, like, even the public were like, why are you still associating with this dude? And the fact that he was just kind of defending it, like, oh, well, he's just a really connected guy and blah, 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 blah. Like, he was always coming up with some kind of reason, like, why he was doing it. And he didn't really, like, say anything about the allegations at all. Kind of made people sort of like, well, I mean, he's guilty of poor judgment at the very, very least, right? And I will note also that one of Epstein's houses, I believe it was the one in New York, but I could be wrong, had a special suite called the Britannia that was reserved only for Andrew and Fergie when they stayed there. That's how close friends they were. They had their own fucking room They're fucking sweet.
The only thing I can remember from the actual witness testimony is one of the girls said that when they were coming onto the fucking island, they went and they saw Andrew on the beach making out with one of those little chicks. They weren't that little, you know, in terms of height wise. I think she was near almost fucking 5'10". But was that Virginia? He was making out with?
It might. Well, no, because I mean there was more than one.
Was it Virginia that said she saw?
I think she said that she saw him. Although she wasn't the only one that made allegations. She was just like the most famous one.
All right.
I mean, there's lots of, like I said, he was kind of known as like a fucking poon hound. You know what I mean?
He was a hound.
So
I just don't understand the fixation with 15, 16, 17-year-olds.
Well, I don't either, but, you know, I'm not like an
They're
old
not that
fat
good.
dude
I mean,
with money.
I used to fuck with them when I was that age. They're not that good.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're that age, like, yeah, that's not weird. But when you're 40, that's quite a different matter, isn't it?
Yeah, but by the they're pretty.
I don't know.
They're pretty.
Like I said, it seems very strange. Like I said, and the weird thing to me, this is always the weirdest thing to me, is a lot of these assholes have daughters that age.
Maybe that's part of the kink.
It's like, is that part of the kink? Or it's like, or does it ever occur to you that it's like, would you like it if some other creepy old man did that to your daughter? Or did they not care?
Okay, well, I see, here's the thing. I never really considered it one way or the other. Didn't really think about it. I like... You guys know me. I've been listening. I like fucking curvy, busty, hyper feminine looking fucking chicks. All right. I like bimbo look too. I like anything that's just like very hypersexual. And a lot of real young girls don't really look that way. They are cute. They're pretty. But I never really had like that much interest in them in terms of like sexually.
Yeah,
he's just like a little cute, little fluffy. Yeah, baby, you're cute. It's like a little Pookie or something. You know?
Like a little Pookie.
Yeah, little Pookie. Yeah. Oh, you're so cute. You know what I mean? But it's not really like a sexual thing at that age. You know what I mean? Like, and even when I was young, messing with girls that age, you're kind of thinking of the fucking porn stars you were watching. They were like in their fucking 20s, 30s. You know what I mean? Sometimes 40s, because some of those girls were hot. Some of the 40s, you're hot as fuck. You know what I mean? So I don't really know the attraction. I can only think of it as you're not real confident in yourself and you want to feel kind of like bigger and more experienced
you want to feel like a big
someone
man.
Else.
I mean,
that's all I can think of.
The only
but you know, I'm going to fucking say this, another thing on the side, just to be fair. This going after 14, 15-year-old girls is actually
12 or 13.
Or 12
or 13.
is actually mainstream in the global sense.
But that doesn't.
All of Islam is like that.
That's
Japan like that. China like that. India is like that.
Creepy as shit.
They're into
those are children.
They're into them that young, and that's like a majority. So you know what I mean? Fucking maybe we're just matured to the point where we think it's weird.
It is weird.
But other cultures see sex as dominion.
Yeah,
that's how they see it.
Well, like I said,
they see it as I'm bigger than you.
Ask the women of the world. We don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But in cultures of dominion, they don't care. As a matter of fact, you not wanting it as part of the fucking.
It's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said.
Yeah.
That's all. This is predicated upon a world that's run by dudes and what they want. You know,
ask in most of the world,
Ask them what they want. They don't want that. Why would they?
But okay, I'll tell you why. If the world is run by dudes, the chances of the dudes that actually run the sectors that they're in is going to be an average dude, not actually above average dude. He's going to be kind of average, especially when it comes to
most people are average. That's why it's an average.
Yeah, and he's going to be very average in the sexual predilection area. So what you're talking about is a beta. You're talking about the dynamics of a fucking beta that has achieved power.
And that's a dangerous combo.
That might be a dangerous combo.
It is a dangerous
combo. A beta will fucking abuse power.
Yeah.
She's like, man, women didn't like me, but now I'm fucking powerful.
I'm getting revenge.
I'm gonna, yeah. It's that kind of action. They didn't like me because I'm ugly.
Against all womankind, even though all women are different,
like me
just like all men are.
They didn't like me because I was ugly and fucking pot-bellied and this and that. But I studied. I went to school. I did my shit. And I got elected or whatever.
Now I can make him do my bidding.
Now I can have the girl that I couldn't get back in high school.
Even though she doesn't really want to do it, you're just paying her.
Yeah, but my power alone overpowers her will. That's what they gotta be thinking. That's the only thing I can imagine.
To me,
Granters, he can go back in there bragging that he's only 120 IQ or something. 100. Still, that's above average.
That is quite above average.
That's not bad.
Yeah. That's actually
me and Jen would be gods next to you. I was kidding. But fucking no.
Stop it.
But,
oh my God.
But you have dealt with law enforcement. I've dealt with military. I've dealt with fucking all kinds of shit. Fucking that's how I'm profiling it. Betas achieving power. And now saying the girls that didn't like me back in high school because I looked fucked up or I was too weak, they now have to deal with me.
Whether they want to
or not, because I have raw institutional power.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking it is.
And anybody with that mindset, I don't want anything to do with.
It's a beta mindset.
Because I always thought, like, if you have to pay for a woman to pretend like they like you,
yeah,
that seems like super, super...
You're in a bad position.
Lame.
Well, I used to do it because I was in the Army.
Yeah, but, like, that's a different situation.
Another thing is that fucking those girls were in the same situation I was in.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't really consider that...
We were working for the same old men.
Yeah.
The old men that paid me to protect this land is the same old man that's paying you, you know what I mean, to come in here and fuck me and I'm going to give you the money. We're fucking... I'm fighting for the man, you're fucking for the man.
Yeah.
Let's just have a good time.
I mean, he understood that they were in the same
We were in the same boat. That's why I said
and he said
earlier shows.
They were always really nice.
And that was why I said earlier on in other shows before is that I always had a soft spot for women of the evening.
I do as well.
Because I was a man of the evening
in a shitty situation.
But it was I was selling my body to fight the old man's enemy, and you were selling your body to fuck the old man.
Yeah, the same thing.
Fucking, which is we were both in the trenches.
Not really much difference, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a different form of prostitution.
Yeah. So I like that you understood that.
Yeah.
That dynamic and that.
Yeah, and fucking, you know what I mean? I'm dealing with dangers in my profession that could kill me, and so was she. Yeah. You know what I mean? And fucking I'm selling what I had
Sex workers get killed a lot.
And she's selling what she had to offer. It's a very male and very female things that we were selling.
I have well, like I said, I'm coming at it from, I write about true crime and shit like that. And like sex workers, man, they get like, quote unquote regular women get killed a lot too, but it's like sex workers get killed like a astronomically like larger percentage, just because they're available, and it's a very, very dangerous profession. So honestly, like, and I hate the way it's gotten better in modern times, but it's like for a long time, if the victim was a sex worker, like, they wouldn't really care that much.
Well, it's the same thing. If infantryman goes down, they don't care.
It's like they don't really care. You're just in
he was in
that's
the
what
army.
happens.
That's what happens to soldiers. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Like, that was a person.
Yeah, and you're like, fucking... And looking at it now, re-looking at it, a very high-end escort with expensive clients, that's a secret agent. That's what that is. That is like a secret agent. A low-end chick who's fucking blowing motherfuckers for a few bucks.
Man, I wouldn't do it, like, unless I was really desperate.
That's the infantry. That's the infantry. Or just basic sex work. Fighting in the trenches.
I mean, that would suck. Like, to be in a situation
high casualty rate
where you had to do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because I know a lot of women do it just because they have to. Like, it's desperation. Some women do it because they like it.
Well, a lot of guys, soldiers, because they have to.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like, a lot of women do it because they like. Well, that's why I think it should be legalized. I just think it would be safer.
It needs to be legalized and controlled through applications and high-tech shit for the girls' safety.
It would be much safer.
And, you don't have to worry about pimps.
Much safer.
Just whoever she's working for fucking knows who she's with at what time.
Way more dangerous when it's illegal, I feel.
If it was all done through cell phones and authentication, the girls would be much more safer.
Oh, yeah.
And she doesn't have to worry about a pimp. She's just working for a company that knows who the customer is.
Yeah.
So if anything happens to her, his ass is on fucking
line. Like, yeah, they got your driver's license and all that shit.
That's all
they
it
gotta
needs
vet
to
everybody.
And they can take a cut for her safety. Yeah. And she'll pay the cut. Make sure that...
Yeah, like I said, I think that would be, like, better for everyone.
And if the app says, he's a regular client, fucking, then he's got 5 stars, she goes, okay, I'll work with him.
Yeah.
That's all.
Like, he's probably safe. He hasn't killed anybody so far.
Right.
Never know when somebody might bust out. But you know what I mean? So it's like I said, when it's illegal, I feel like I said, most women get into it because they have to, which is unfortunate. I wish they didn't have to do that. I wish they had other options. But some people want to do that, and I don't have a problem with that, honestly. You know, as George Carlin famously once said, like, selling is legal, fucking is legal. Why isn't selling fucking legal? I believe it should be. But it's like, it should be kind of your choice, though. And like I said, if it was regulated, if there was a system in place, kind of sort of like what they have in Nevada, but, you know, everyone would be a lot safer, you know, because they really get shit on and beat up and murdered and shit like that, like in way higher numbers than other women do. And I would really like to see that changed. I just think that would be safer for everybody. So, you know, I know that's a weird tangent to have gone off on this show about this. Well, not really, because it's a show about sex trafficking. You know what I mean? But, you know. So, yeah. So, all right. As I said, now, the main allegations, there are others, but we're mostly going to talk about the ones about Virginia Giuffre. Roberts was her maiden name. Giuffre was her married name later. Now, she actually got recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell when she was 16 years old. She was working at Mar-a-Lago in South Florida. And she was eventually trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. What happened with that, as we mentioned on the Epstein show, was that she was essentially promised a job. She was like, they were like, I think the story was like they'd seen her like reading a book on massage or something like that. Like she wanted to be a massage therapist, and they're like, hey, we'll send you to massage school and we'll do all this, and which they did, but they didn't really tell her all of this other shit that she was expected to do.
What's up, my boy? Linwood, shut up.
Oh, yeah.
Good to see you here, my man. Look, man, fucking, I was talking earlier on about how the Chinese can't swim, white Southerners can swim, black Southerners can swim because they fucking...
Well, we grew up around water.
Come up around water.
Like I said, I grew up like literally 2 blocks from the ocean.
But I met a lot of... When I was in the Army, I met a lot of fucking black dudes that came out of the city. They couldn't fucking swim.
Well, why would they? It's like they don't really have...
And all I could think of is that the mama didn't take them to the pool because they were living in the city.
Yeah, probably not.
That's what I was thinking.
Like I said, I grew up like in Daytona Beach, which is literally like right on the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
We used to go to the Atlantic Ocean every weekend.
But I'm not going to believe that Ghislaine's fucking Maxwell's daddy
that her dad didn't know
fell off the fucking boat that he owned and drowned.
If you buy a boat,
you can fucking swim. Come on. Linwood, you can swim.
If you don't know
can
how,
you swim, Linwood? That's what I'm asking.
Learn to swim.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not going to keep sharks from eating you.
Yeah.
But you might live, maybe.
Right.
You should at least know how to swim, because you might fall off that boat at some point. You don't know. Yeah. I would not live on a boat. I would not go out on a boat in the middle of the ocean, because fuck the ocean. I grew up on the ocean. I don't want anything to do with that. You know what I mean? I've seen enough I shouldn't be alive shows about shipwrecks and stuff. I don't want anything to do with that mess. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, oh my God.
He answered. Linwood answered.
Why is that, Tom? We're not afraid of water. We're just scared of water.
He says he swims. Okay. Yeah, he can swim.
Like I said, I grew up going to pools, the beach, Alexander Springs, Blue Springs. There's a lot of springs in Central Florida. We used to go to that all the time because it's cheap.
Yeah.
So we used to go camping there. So it's like, we learned to swim and snorkel like really young.
Linwood, fucking, they tasked me out one time to go to the pool with a fucking brother. from our unit who he had to learn how to swim to try to pass the pre-ranger swim test because they wanted to send him to fucking. And it wasn't just him. There was like three or four other ones. Teach him how to swim so they could go to fucking ranger indoctrination program. And most of those dudes, they didn't know how to swim. Out of like the three or four, I think only one of them, one or two, ended up swimming. The other ones, I noticed that they sank. And I was like, why are they fucking sank? Why are these dudes fucking... And
they don't have any fat.
The only thing I can think of is they were lean as fuck.
Fat floats.
Yeah, and then later on, I fucking ended up reading that black males have very high bone density. So there isn't any empty air pockets in their fucking bones. They don't float as well. That's all I could think. And they weren't taught to swim from an early age. They didn't know how to swim at all. One of them, I think, if I remember correctly, could swim. He didn't end up passing the fucking Rangers the Ranger pre-test to go to fucking Ranger school anyway. Because that was a hard test. I didn't pass that test myself, and I could swim. Which was to get a fucking fully loaded 30-pound rucksack off the bottom of the fucking 12-foot pool and bring it up to the top.
To the top fast enough.
Yeah, I got it up to the top and dropped it. And then went back down to get it, and they fucking pulled me up. And I said, like, why'd you pull me up? Because I was on a line. I said, why'd you pull me up? I was going back to get it. And he says, nah, we've been through that before. You'll run out of air.
Yeah.
You get one chance.
So even if you can swim.
Even if you can swim, you go down and get it, you'll run out of air.
Yeah. So they don't.
Right.
So even people that can swim, like, don't pass it.
See, so, and I consider myself to be a strong swimmer.
Yeah, I've been swimming my whole life since I was little, so.
And the 1992 Ranger swim test, the Ranger pre-swim test, if you had to pass that test at the division level to go to fucking Ranger school, nah, blow it out.
I probably would have failed that too, and I'm a really good swimmer, but...
And you're in full uniform with boots, a helmet, and a fucking M16A2 rifle strapped across your back.
Yeah.
To go get that fucking rucksack off the bottom.
Yeah, I feel like most people probably would not pass that.
Because that's why I said if you drop it, you don't have enough air.
Yeah. Like I said, because I'm a good swimmer, but I don't think I could pass that. No way.
He said they saw it 100 times, so he pulled me up.
Yeah.
I was like, I could have got it. Like, nah.
Because like I said, I've been swimming since I was little. Since I can remember.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could pass that. So yeah, let's see. Okay, so...
He said that's correct. His bone density in salt water. Okay. Yeah.
I was floated pretty good, but I have a high fat content.
Yeah, don't tell that to somebody motherfucker up north at a university that there are racial differences in the way that we're structured.
Well, there are, but there are.
Yeah, especially when it has to do with cold weather.
Everybody knows that there are some differences. Disease resistance, like like you said, weather, shit like that. But,
extreme weather.
Yeah. But they're relatively minor.
Well, okay.
Depending on what it is.
Okay. A fucking in extreme cold weather, a black dude dies 20 minutes before the white guy, but it's still 20 minutes, and you can fucking you can fucking measure it. Yeah. Would it make a big difference in the long run? Probably not.
No. Well, that's what I'm saying.
But they care in the Army.
Well, yeah, when it comes down to like little nitpicky shit,
because it's life and death.
Yeah,
right.
It does.
And there's a bunch of people involved.
Somebody Desolate one asked, "Do you do any SEAL training?"
No, I was in the Army. I don't do SEALs.
Yeah, that's neat.
It's just that Rangers have to swim. Army Rangers have to have good swim.
Yeah, he did Ranger stuff. He went to Ranger school.
Yeah,
like I said,
the
swim test.
I didn't ever make it to Ranger school. I was in a recon platoon, and I had to go to Ranger indoctrination program. I went through that, but then to get sent to Ranger school, there's like a test that the 101st Airborne Division puts you through. It's like a fucking 4-day school where you have to do a bunch of shit, and it's kind of to weed out people that aren't going to make it through Ranger.
Well, yeah, they don't want to waste time or resources.
It's more like honor. The 101st Airborne Division did not want to have anybody fail. So they didn't want to send anyone that had a chance of failing. Other divisions would. But if the 101st Airborne Division was going to send you to Ranger School, you were going to fucking pass. Because there's no way they were going to have a fucking 101st Airborne Division guy fail. Yeah, they didn't
want that. Like,
it's about honor.
Yeah,
right.
I get it.
Right, and the 82nd was just as tough.
Linwood says, that's because blue-eyed people were brought up in the colder climates thousands of years ago. Brown-eyed people like warmer climate. Here's the thing, though.
She's brown-eyed.
I have brown eyes, I hate hot weather.
Yeah, most...
I'm a cold weather motherfucker.
Yeah, most Caucasians actually have brown eyes. It's just that more Nordic style people, and I don't have blue eyes, I have green eyes, which is even rarer.
Actually, my eyes are very dark brown. Yeah. Actually, my brother's eyes are black.
Yeah.
My youngest brother has, like, literally black eyes.
Most Caucasians do not have a Nordic genesis. We're actually more from the Middle East. And then we moved into Europe. And then some of them became... We're not sure. But it's what it looks like.
My ass on my mom's side is... Well, after we all came out of... Because everyone came out of Africa, obviously. But it's like after that, Turkey area. That's
Although
my mom... But I haven't done my dad's side.
They're starting to question whether it came out of Africa, though. It could have been more like Asia.
Yes, I've seen that. That might have been more like Asia. That's like an old school... That's an old... kind of shit.
It's just that Africa does have all... No, that's newer. The newer theory is that it's more like Asia. But all of the genetic traits that white people have are found in parts of Asia, of Africa. You have black people that have light skin. No. You have black people that have straight hair. You have black people that have blue eyes.
Yeah, from what I know, all of the genetic diversity of humans all over the globe can be found in Africa. Yeah, in fact, there is more genetic diversity in Africa than there is in the rest of the world.
Right. So you can take the genes from Africans if you get them,
and you could
make a white person
theoretically.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened.
Right.
So you could do it again.
It seems to be, maybe. Depends.
Well, that's, as far as I know, that's kind of what they...
But it's happening in both directions. That's another thing that other people have said. For instance, you're always fucking your neighbor.
Well, I'm not fucking...
No matter where you are throughout history, you're always fucking, back before air flight and planes and ships, you were fucking the people that you lived next to. So there was like a genetic transposition. So yeah, you had people moving up into Asia and into Europe, and they were evolving into Asians and white people. But they were also fucking their neighbors. So their genes would slowly come back into Africa. And because the people in the fucking most southern parts of Asia and the most northern parts of Africa were having sex. They were fucking because they were neighbors. So you have genetic flow across all the continents. It's just slower if you're fucking your neighbor. It's faster if you're walking. And you did have some people walking into Europe and Asia. What's funny is that Caucasians and Asians also have a lot of similarities with fucking Cro-Magnon, well, not only Cro-Magnon, but fucking Neanderthal and Homo erectus. Asians have a lot of Homo erectoid skull features, so kind of a flat face, the Asian kind of face. And Caucasians do kind of have some Neanderthal features, and then you go back and you look at the genes, and you're there. So not only were people walking out of Africa that were Homo sapiens, they were also walking into territory of older versions of humans. And they were all fucking.
There were lots of them.
They were all fucking.
They keep finding new ones.
So they're all crossbreeding as they're walking. It's a long process.
Yeah.
But Caucasians carry a lot of Neanderthal DNA.
Yep.
And Asians carry a lot of kind of like Homo erectus style DNA, which they just kind of, there wasn't a big difference really, but it was enough to fucking make a difference in how we appear.
Yeah, but like I said, appearance is usually kind of
yeah
surface level kind of shit. It's usually kind of adaptation to your immediate climate. It's really not that.
The Neanderthal was the original abominable snowman. They were those were snow motherfuckers right there. Snow honkies. Bigger than shit.
Zach says, I got dark hair and eyes, and I tend to prefer warm weather, even though most of my ancestors are Brits and Norwegians.
Yeah.
I have very dark brown eyes, and my hair is actually red originally. But I don't know why. I was born in Florida. My ancestry is English Irish on one side, Middle Eastern Native American on the other side. And I fucking hate hot weather. I hate it. I'm a cold weather motherfucker. I'm like a reptile. So it's just kind of like, I don't know where that puts me. I'm a genetic anomaly, I suppose. But yeah. Let me see. Okay. Where was I? I really want to finish this fucking show. Okay. So we're talking about Virginia Giuffre, who was the main, sadly, R.I.P. She passed away a few years back. Not long after her book came out, which, like I said, a little bit sus, gonna say. So she was kind of Andrew's main accuser. There were others, but we're just kind of gonna focus on her because she was the one that wrote the book and said all the stuff about it. So she claimed, as we mentioned on the Epstein show, that she was recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the procurer, that she was recruited by Ghislaine at age 16 while she was working at Mar-a-Lago in South Florida, and was then, subsequently trafficked by Epstein. She actually they kind of like eased her into it by basically, like I said, oh, we'll send you to massage school, we'll do this and that, which I think they did do, but it's just kind of like, then they were kind of like, oh, guess what? Now you have to massage Jeffrey and do all this weird shit, you know what I mean? And then you have to fuck him, and then you have to fuck all these other people, and it's like, and they slowly got her involved in it, and then they started threatening her and started threatening her family, if she told anybody. Now, Virginia alleges that in March of 2001, when she was 17 years old, she was introduced to the former Prince Andrew in London. Now, she said all she knew at the time was that they told her, oh, you're going to meet a prince today. And she was like, oh, okay, cool. She didn't really know what that was going to entail. You know what I mean? So they're in London. They go to this nightclub called The Tramp. And afterward, there is a very famous picture. Everybody knows the picture of Prince Andrew and Virginia and Ghislaine in the background in Epstein's house in London. And Andrew has his arm around her, so there's we'll talk about later, he tried to claim it was fake and stuff like that, which is kind of funny, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Now at this stage, she said shortly after this picture was taken, she was actually excited. She's like, oh, I'm meeting a royalty. You know what I mean? Neat. And then, after this picture was taken with her disposable camera, Ghislaine says to her, well, you have to do for Andrew what you do for Jeffrey. Which, yeah, she was like, oh, I see how it's going to be. So she said later in her book, she said he was friendly enough, that's a quote, but still entitled, as if he believed having sex with me was his birthright. He was just kind of like, oh,
he thought it was a service.
This is going to happen, and you're just going to do this for me.
It's a service.
Yeah. He didn't think of her as a person.
No, these dudes grew up paying for the shit. They're just workers.
That's what, yeah. Yeah. Desolate One says, you look Greek, Jenny. Really?
Well, fucking...
we know
Greek
one of our
couple.
best friends is Greek.
Yeah.
Do we look alike? I don't think so.
I don't know. they've done a bunch of photo shoots together. He just means that you're kind of light skinned and dark haired. And
yeah,
general,
but like I said, my natural hair color is
Yeah.
actually red. My hair is actually like reddish or like a coppery orange. I just dye it because it's probably gray by now because I'm old.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, she's a ginger.
yeah, I am a ginger naturally.
Yeah.
I just
And I'm half ginger. My dad was a ginger.
So it's like I said, I don't know. Everybody thought it was weird because I shave my eyebrows off and draw them on now, obviously. But it's just like when I was growing up, I had copper red hair and black eyebrows because my dad had black eyebrows, and I got the eyebrows from him and the hair from I don't know where. There are some redheads in my family, but my mom was not redheaded. She had kind of brownish hair. A couple of my cousins have red hair. So I got that gene. So people always ask me if I dyed my hair that red color because my eyebrows were obviously very black. And I was like, nope, natural. So I get less of that now that my hair is black because it kind of matches all together. But like for a while, like people were just they thought I dyed my hair red because my eyebrows were a different color. But no, they just were. My eyebrows were a completely different color than my hair. So, yeah.
Trying to get a picture of Jen and Dimitri, but they don't have anything together.
I've seen some.
Yeah.
They got some somewhere. It might be old.
All right.
But yeah. So they have this picture.
That's Jen. That's our friend's wife. She's married to Dimitri, and they're Greek.
Yeah. She's not Greek.
She's not Greek. He is.
Dimitri.
Yeah, Dimitri is. I'll show you.
Dimitri is Papist. You can't get a Greeker name than that.
He's our DJ that we work for. Work with.
Yeah,
work with.
We're having our 11th anniversary of Memento Mori on Saturday night.
On Saturday, yeah.
I made the flyer for it and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be
here's
cool.
Dimitri. That's Dimitri.
He's actually Greek, yeah.
Yeah, he's Greek.
There you go.
Yeah, we're the same age. Although this pictures might be a couple years old. But...
Yeah. He's a rad dude. I like him.
Yeah, he's cool.
I mean, they're both really cool. We hang out with them a lot.
Yeah, and that was back.
They've been over our house lots of times.
Yeah. Yeah. And fucking we took over Orlando, the God scene.
We did.
And we planned it.
We
planned it 15 years ago. Yeah.
We didn't think it would.
It was fucking club gangster shit. That's what we did.
Sly says, Lori, my wife has always wanted to visit Ireland. You do look Greek. I've never heard that before, but okay. I've heard that I looked... My ex-husband used to tell me I looked like a Native American, but I was like, well, my great-grandpa was Blackfeet, but I didn't really think of myself as looking like that.
This is Jen and Jen.
That's an old picture.
That's an old picture. But Jen made this a week ago.
Dimitri said, we'll use some pictures of you. And I was like, man, I don't have any new ones. So I just used some old ones that we took like a few years back.
Yeah, it's probably 5, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. But
like our friend Brian came over and took a bunch of pictures of us. And our friend Laura, too. I was going to put her in it, too, but all the pictures of her, she had like weird wigs on, so.
But that's the club flyer that Jen made. And my Jen is this one.
Yeah, I had
that's
red
the one.
hair.
That's Jenny right there. And this is
and
that's the other.
I had bangs at that point.
Yeah. I think I took those photos, didn't I?
No, Brian took.
Brian took those photos. Yeah. Because that's an amalgam of 2 photos put together, and then a background Jen made.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your hair looks so good, long like that, though. It's coming back.
I'm growing it out.
Growing back, yeah.
Well, a lot of that was fake, actually.
Yeah, extensions.
I had fake ponytails on, and
yeah.
Like, the bit in the front was real, but like the back was all.
It looked cute.
You know what I mean?
And that jacket and everything.
I don't know if that jacket would fit over my boobs anymore.
Wouldn't fit over your boobs.
I think that was. I don't know if that was pre-boob job, but.
No, it was after the boob job, I think.
But I don't know if that would. I still have that jacket, I think.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know if it would really fit anymore. But yeah, okay. So where were we? Okay. So yeah, she said that as you might expect, the dude acted very she didn't say he was abusive or nothing like that. She said he was friendly and everything like that, but he just was very entitled. Like, he was just kind of like, yeah, we're doing this, and we don't really care what you think, blah, blah, blah. She said the encounter lasted less than half an hour, and then he was in a rush to have sex, which, yeah, that tracks, was into her toes, and licked her feet, like the arches of her feet, which, yeah, I've heard that before, that he's, like, into feet. She also said, and we will talk about this earlier, and I think some British listener has also referred to this, because this kind of became a meme over there, about when they were at the nightclub earlier. There was a nightclub in London called Tramp, and they went to it, and she said he was dancing with me, and she was like, oh man, he was like super, super sweaty, and he's like smelled really funny. But yeah, we'll get back to that. Now, Jeffrey Epstein allegedly paid her $15,000 afterward, and she said that the next morning Ghislaine said, oh, you did well, and the prince had fun. And Virginia said she felt really gross, and was like, she just didn't really want to do this at all, and she didn't know this was going to happen, but like at this point she didn't really think she
No, Sly, that wasn't suicide, man. They killed her, man. That was a hit.
I mean, yeah.
That was a hit.
I'm
she
not
said
sure.
if
like,
anything happens to me, she said I'm not suicidal. If anything happens to me,
like I said,
Israel killed her.
I'll get into that a little bit.
Israel
later,
got
like
her.
I said, there are conspiracy, and honestly, I'm not. It does seem kind of convenient.
Yeah.
That she died when she did.
Israel got her. Mossad.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that's convenient when she died when she did. I'm just saying. So now Virginia says she alleged there were 2 additional encounters that she was also trafficked to Andrew. Now the second of them, like I said, the first one was in London, after the nightclub and everything. And then the second was at Jeffrey Epstein's New York mansion. And she said there was group sex involved in this one. Now she says she doesn't go into huge detail into her memoir, because like I said, she wrote a memoir like that came out after she died. But she was kind of like just talking about being loaned out to Jeffrey Epstein's associates. And she said that she was like passed around. And she felt like at this stage she was like so manipulated by them that it's just kind of like she just did what they wanted, even though she didn't really want to do it. Virginia also said there was a third encounter, and it was an orgy, and it was her and Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein and about 8 other girls. She was asked how old they were, and she said she wasn't sure, but most of them looked pretty young, like teenage, under 18. And she said most of them didn't really speak much English. They were possibly Eastern Europe.
Yeah, they were getting it from Eastern Europe.
Yeah,
too.
not sure.
Ukrainians, a lot of them.
Yeah. So she said all of them had like an orgy, essentially.
Yeah. One of the girls that Epstein kept was a Ukrainian girl. He got her through a bunch of defense contractors. And because, man, all kinds of weird shit was going on with the companies that were fucking helping the Ukrainians. And he got her when she was like 12 or 13 and like raised her. He had pictures of her all over his little island. She lived up there. And she was like one of the head mistresses. She'd be like pimping out the other girls. She was like in charge of shit. So that's the way he raised her. She's kind of like a mistress.
Well, Epstein did that shit too. Like, he would recruit some girls, and then they would go out and recruit others.
Yeah.
And then, like, later on, when they realized what was happening, like, because on the documentary, they're like, holy crap, I feel, like, really fucking guilty because I got all these other chicks into this shit.
Yeah. That particular one, though, evidently she left. Nothing happened to her. She got, like, she didn't die or anything. She left and evidently was, like, extremely wealthy.
Yeah.
And she was being paid.
But like I said, it's just kind of like...
He was at the top, very, very, very top of the pimp game. That's what Epstein was. And it was CIA and Mossad, man. And here's the thing. He motherfucker was an idiot. He was an idiot.
Most of them are idiots.
Yeah. It just happened to be that he was from the right family and had the right connections.
Why do you think that they target vulnerable girls?
Low income.
that are young age,
Low income. Yeah.
low income.
Their parents.
They don't have any choices. A lot of, and Virginia in particular, came from an abusive household allegedly.
And the parents can't help or defend them. The parents don't have any money or education.
They know they prey on that.
Yeah.
They count on that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what are you going to do? Go back to your trailer
park with
your dad that's raping you?
Yeah, and your dumbass dad.
Yeah.
Who can't get a job. You're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know, you don't really have any options.
And if they had to really drop their dicks, they'd just give your dad a $1,000 and he would look the other way.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right.
Because most people would for money, which is sad but true.
Yeah.
Even if it's your own daughter.
Yeah. Well, from that kind of people.
Yeah.
They targeted that kind
Like I said, predators know
who
to target.
If you want to fucking make hoes and fucking porn stars and shit, you got to go to families that are like that, and it's a big move up for these girls because they
come from like worse.
Because they come from nothing, and guess what? They can have designer shoes now.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna get you some designer clothes.
It's like, well, we have to do this shit we don't really want to do.
You're gonna suck all kinds of dick, but you're gonna.
But it's like, well, my dad was already abusing me, so it's like not really that
big
of a deal. Which is fucking sad.
Right.
That's
but
fucking sad. But that's like I said.
That's how it is.
That's why they target specifically those types of girls, because it's like they know that they can get hooks in them.
The only thing that surprised me is that this happens in the United States. Growing up in Brazil, it was just like a given. The class was the way the class structure was in poverty. Poor girls had to become entertainers of some sort, or they'd live in the favela. And coming out of the favela that way was a respectable way of coming out of the favela in Brazil.
Yeah.
But that's not the way it's supposed to be in America. America's supposed to be more idealized.
Yeah.
But it's not that different.
It's really not. We like to pretend we're better, but all the same shit happens here.
Yeah.
We're just like, I guess we're more outraged by it.
Yeah, we're more. Yeah, in Brazil, it's just like normal.
You know, I'll give people that, but you know what I mean? We're more mad about it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like more shit doesn't get done about it, because it doesn't. But you know, I wish more shit would get done about it, but it doesn't.
Okay, well, I'm a fucking when I was running around with Norier, that was my Brazilian girlfriend. She was a Japanese Brazilian. Okay, her name was Norier Shibutani. We were having so much fun running around my car. We were going all around town, and we went past a fucking praça, which means a little park. It was usually like a little square park, and there were little boys, 9, 10, 11, pimping themselves. And it was pretty obvious what was going on. I was like, "You see that?" And she's like, "Yeah." So we drove out of there, and there was a cop. And she goes, "Stop, tell this cop, I'm going to tell this cop." We stopped, and she told that cop, she goes, "There are little boys back there in that praça prostituting themselves." And he was like, yeah, what am I going to do about it? And she goes, "But they're back." And she was disillusioned too. She's, "You're not going to stop it?" And she goes, "What, they're going to go hungry?"
I mean, they got to eat too.
Yeah.
You don't know what situation they come from.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's kind of shitty about it, is that that might be better than
what they had.
What they have at home.
Yeah. And she was a Brazilian girl, and she was astounded.
Yeah.
But we were teenagers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was not even in the army yet. So I was about 17. She was about 16. Yeah. You would have liked Norier. She was cool.
Yeah.
And she was like, she couldn't believe it. And I was like, she's like, "What the fuck?"
I mean, I believe it, but like I said, I write about true crime and shit. I write about fucked up shit every day.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I get it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Obviously. But it's just kind of like, what are you going to do, man? Humans suck.
And that's what the cop said.
We were a mistake.
The cop was like, "What am I going to do about it?" She's not stopping. He goes, "Then they go hungry?" And he was just the cop standing there.
For real, like, all you can do is just, you can't, because I kind of understand the proclivity to, like, you want to save everybody, because like I feel that too, but it's just like you can't. It's just kind of like, but all you can do is just make shit better in your little environment. Just leave the world better than you left it.
Yeah.
You don't have to fix everybody's problems. You don't have to, like, Like, I get it. I want to do that too, but it's just kind of like, you can't. It's just, it's too big.
Yeah. Extreme poverty. Brazil had extreme poverty.
Yeah. And it's just, and it's really sad.
It got that bad.
I just wish it didn't have to be like that. But, you know, it is.
Yeah.
You know? Sly says Jenny was Epstein killed. Will Maxine get a
Of course. Of course he was
I
killed.
probably think... I think I said on the Epstein show that we did, I was like, maybe not. But now, the more I'm looking into it, I'm like, probably.
Yeah, they killed his ass
up. Now, I will say, the thing about Ghislaine is that, man, she got moved to that cushy-ass prison. There has been some speculation from the UK... not the UK press, but like some writers and historians over there, that it's like that maybe she was the one that leaked the emails between Epstein and Andrew to take heat off Trump because she thought that he would give her a pardon. That doesn't seem completely out of bounds to me. So, you know, maybe. Because there was some... Because the thing about it was that Andrew said that he had discontinued his friendship, which we'll get into in a minute, discontinued his friendship with Epstein after all that shit came out, which later was proven to be a complete, big, fat, bloody lie after all these emails came out. Because someone released, like, Andrew's emails and Fergie's emails also. Like, because they had emailed Epstein... big time. So, I don't know, possibly. But I don't know if she released them or not. Nobody knows who released them, but somebody released them, like the emails. And there's lots of them.
It's easy to get twisted up because we're civilians and we don't know the behind the scenes fucking stories. And here's a good example. Trump just captured Maduro and brought him here. And people are crying about that. So we assumed that he was captured by Maduro. But I saw the assault, and they were using non-lethal weapons on the fucking Venezuelan troops. But evidently they used lethal weapons on the Cuban bodyguards that were bodyguarding him. We assume, this is how stupid we are, we assume that Trump captured or kidnapped Maduro. It's also equally plausible that he rescued him. Because what could happen is it might have been that Maduro wanted to flip sides, but his Cuban bodyguards would have killed him. So there had to be a raid to kill the Cuban bodyguards. You bring him to the United States to stand trial, but instead he testifies against Cuba for immunity. So the attack might have not have been against... This is how fucking deep this shit goes. You never know. It's never what it appears to be. It might have not have been an attack against Venezuela. It might have been a rescue of Maduro so they could attack Cuba. And Cuba's higher, much higher on the shit list than Venezuela is in the eyes of the American federal government and just America in general. Cuba's got to go because most Cuban Americans, and a lot of them are high up in the administration right now, and most Cuban Americans see Cuba as a part of Florida. That's just how it is. And when you look at Florida's wealth versus Cuba's wealth, Cuba's poor. And they want to liberate Cuba and make it part of Florida, which that would work out here because, man, you could put casinos and all kinds of shit. That'd be a huge resort. And
they've been here for centuries.
And Cuba's fucking beautiful, okay? And you might want to get rid of those commies. And evidently they were holding Maduro to where he couldn't flip side. Why would he have Cuban bodyguards? He didn't trust his own people, or Cuba didn't trust him? And there's a bunch of shit about the voting machines and all kinds of corruption in the drug trade. Yeah, a lot of the drugs didn't come from Venezuela, but they were doing all the fucking banking and shit and all the organization through Venezuela, probably under the command of Cuba. We will never know because we're not players in the game. Only the real players in the game know. They're not going to tell us. Go to the restroom.
All right, so let me get back to the story.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now, Virginia she eventually got out of there, and she moved to Australia. She actually married an Australian dude named Robert Giuffre, which is where she got her last name, obviously. And she moved to Australia, had 3 kids, and she eventually founded a couple of different charities. Victims Refuse Silence, which was later called Speak Out, Act Reclaim, to support survivors of sexual abuse. Now, the thing about it, like I said, and we'll talk about her, alleged suicide in a second. But the thing about it that I think was really, I don't know if this was the straw that broke the camel's back, as, in regards to turning public opinion in Britain against Andrew. Because, like I said, I don't really think, as far as I could determine, it didn't really seem like people had that positive of a view of Andrew prior to this all coming out. And I think after this came out, that just was well, yeah, obviously, fuck that dude, for real, Now, the thing about it, though, is that he said that he had cut off ties with Epstein after the allegations came out, and that later came out that was not true. Because like I said, so Epstein, as everyone knows, they started doing the investigation in Palm Beach in Florida in 2006, and then he pled guilty in 2008 to procuring a minor for prostitution, which was kind of a lesser sentence than what he was initially charged with. And then they gave him just a slap on the wrist, really. They gave him 13 months. And then after he got out, Andrew said, oh, well, I didn't associate with him after that time, but that is clearly bullshit, because in December of 2010, not long after he was released, Andrew visited him in New York and stayed at his house for 5 days. And photographers saw them walking together in Central Park, and also saw Andrew kind of peeking out the front door of his fucking house. So he stayed there for 5 days, even after he said, oh, we're not friends anymore. And so this is, okay, and y'all that are in the UK, I feel like Americans will not know. In the UK, Andrew did in hindsight, disastrous interview on BBC Newsnight in 2019. Now, it was his idea, I believe. They thought, I guess, in his arrogance, that he thought that he could just go on and tell whatever bullshit story and everyone was going to buy it and everything was going to blow over. But that TV appearance ended up being the fucking crux of the whole thing that made everybody turn against him, because it was just so obvious that he came across as such a fucking douchebag in this. So the interviewer, and I will give it to UK interviewers, they will actually ask you questions and actually make you answer them. In the US, they just give you softball questions. If you don't answer it, they just go to the next one. They don't even make you answer. It's bullshit. But in the UK, they're kind of mean, and I kind of respect that. Ask them, make them answer the shit. So they basically asked, what the fuck? You said that you had, terminated your friendship with Epstein after the allegations came out, back in 2008 or whatever. Our sources show us that is not true, because we have pictures of you, you stayed with him, in his house in New York in 2010, 2 years after, not long after he got out of jail, all this other kind of shit. And the excuses that he gave were fucking hilarious. So he says that he flew all the fucking way to New York to stay with Jeffrey Epstein in his New York house for 5 days to break off the friendship in person, because he was just too honorable to do it from afar. And also, the interviewer, bless her, asked her about, well, what about all this Virginia Giuffre stuff that just came out? It's she said that you did this and that. And so he says, I love this. So he says, remember how she said that, you know, we went to the Tramp nightclub in London and it's like he was really sweaty and all this other stuff. His excuse was, it's like, well, that's obviously not true because I have a condition. I got it in the Falklands War, like when I was sprayed with chemicals or whatever. I can't sweat, or I couldn't sweat back then.
What?
And everyone's like, what? Like, seriously, like 100% of the British public were like, fuck you. That is absolutely not true. That's when everybody turned against him, when he said that kind of bullshit. Also, he said that I don't have any recollection of that girl, of meeting that girl. I don't have any recollection of that picture being taken because they showed the picture on the show. And then he was kind of like, well, that's me in the picture, but maybe it's not my hand. Like, oh, it's like the shit that he came up with is just completely fucking stupid. And the fact that he's just on there thinking he was like winning a prize or something, and he was just clearly making a complete ass of himself, was fucking hilarious. And that just goes to show how fucking out of touch he is with, like, regular ass people. And he also did not make any concessions. He basically didn't make any concessions. It's like, oh man, that sucked, like what Jeffrey Epstein was up to. He didn't say anything like that. He basically said he didn't regret being friends with Epstein because of the quote unquote opportunities it afforded him. Because he was such a good guy at, like, you know, connecting important people and blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of like, he didn't say anything about the victims. He didn't say anything about the allegations. He didn't say anything about, the dude had been to prison for the shit. And he didn't say anything about that. So that interview, I kind of feel like that was sort of like the linchpin of the entire British public, like, turning against him. Because they understood at that point that it's like, this bitch does not feel bad. He's associating with a known PDF file, and he just does not fucking care. And he thought that this was going to go well. And the hilarious thing was that after the interview aired, he thought it went well. The rest of the royal family thought it went well, until all the headlines and shit like that, and all the media were shitting on him, and the entire public was shitting on him. And then they were like, oh, I guess that didn't go well. You know what I mean? And it's like, that was so fucking funny to me that they didn't fucking catch on. That he came across really, really badly. He came across as very arrogant, very entitled, very... And, like, the fact that he didn't recognize that was just kind of like the amplifier. Like, and that was kind of what made everybody... I think that was kind of the main thing that made everybody go, man, fuck this guy. Like, he really thinks that's okay. So, yeah. I kind of feel like, what happened after that? And then later, somebody released emails which definitively proved that both Andrew and Sarah Ferguson had still been corresponding with Epstein well after they had told everybody that they were not corresponding with him anymore. It's, oh, we broke off that friendship. He's a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. But they were still talking to him. And they were still, like, really supportive. Like, even Sarah Ferguson called him, like, you're, like, a premier friend or something like that. And I should note that Sarah Ferguson, she asked him, he loaned her a bunch of money. Now, everybody says 15,000 pounds, but I've heard more like 2 million pounds, which I think is probably closer to the truth. Because, at this point they were divorced, so I don't think she was getting on the royal people gravy train anymore. So it's like, so she was asking him for money, so I think he was bankrolling her for a little while. And so she basically wrote him several emails, like, giving her undying support, like, we're always, like, you're the best friend ever, and we're always behind you, and all this other kind of shit. And then Andrew had sent him one particular email that, got repeated a lot, where he said, don't worry about me, it would seem we were in this together, that kind of says something, and we'll have to rise above it, we'll play again together soon, he said. Which, in the context of what they're allegedly guilty of, that's not a good look. Not a good look. So when those emails came out, I think that was kind of the final nail in the coffin. You know what I mean? So there was that. Now, because Epstein allegedly committed suicide in prison, that kind of like brought the whole thing back to the fore again. And that was kind of when a lot of the stuff came out, like with the emails and everything like that, which specifically named Andrew. He was all over the shit, like, which everybody suspected, but, you know, it was just kind of fucking confirmed by all the shit coming out. And all the shit about him saying he couldn't sweat, and it became a meme, the I don't sweat thing. Like, it was a meme in the UK for like a while. Like, it was just became a joke because everyone just thought it was fucking hilarious that he thought that was gonna fucking make him seem more. Like I said, it was his idea. The palace backed it. They said, yeah, you need to get in there and like talk to, because the royals don't normally do that. Like, they don't go on a news show and get interviewed about salacious scandals like this. But he was advised that it's like, well, they thought that would be a good idea. And I guess because he was so arrogant, he thought it would also be a good idea. Like I said, he thought people would just buy whatever bullshit he was selling. And that absolutely did not happen. Actually, the opposite happened. And it just fucking blew up in his face. After that interview, he had all of these companies like withdrawing from his charities, and just the public was just kind of fucking not having it. Like, just complete outrage. And a couple days after that, the backlash was so bad that he basically said he was stepping back from public duties for the foreseeable future because everybody thought that was the best thing. And Buckingham Palace said, yeah, you should probably do that. Now, I will say that in 2021, Virginia Giuffre, she couldn't get a criminal trial. I guess, I don't know if it was because of the jurisdiction or whatever, but she sued him, like in a civil suit in New York, under the Child Victims Act, because they just passed that thing where, because I think for a while there was like a thing where if you had, which is bullshit, but if you'd had like sexual assault or something like that happen like X years in the past, like you couldn't, like statute of limitations or whatever. And they changed that law. So like if you were a kid when it happened, if you wanted to sue when you were an adult, you could. So she did that. So she sued him like a civil trial. And basically he tried to fight it, obviously, but the judge said, no, it's going to go ahead. And I think what happened eventually, because of all the back and forth, he eventually ended up settling with her for an undisclosed sum. Most sources say it's about 12 million pounds. I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's what most sources say. I think they just wanted it to go away, not realizing that it probably would not. He did not admit any guilt, but the fact that he paid that out made a lot of people, like I said, kind of suspicious, you know what I mean? So in January of 2022, because they knew there was like, look, we can't like hitch our wagon to this motherfucker because we want to continue the monarchy, I presume, and it's like he's a liability. So they were like, well, we need to strip him of all his titles. It has to look like they're doing something or he's having some kind of consequences, because it really seemed like he wasn't having any. Like, he wasn't going to prison or anything. So she stripped him of all his titles. He was stripped of all his military titles. He was stripped of all his patronages and his HRH titles of, you know, his, her, Royal Majesty titles, shit like that. So he's not Prince Andrew anymore. He's not Duke of York anymore. He's not any of that. He's just a regular ass motherfucker like the rest of us losers. So yeah, 12 million pounds. Now afterward, they basically said, now just get out of our face, because we don't want you sullying the reputation of the royal family, because like we're in enough trouble as it is, so we don't really need this. So they sent him off to his residence, which is called Royal Lodge, where he had lived for about 20 years. His ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, as I mentioned, also lived there, which, like I said, kind of weird, but okay. And they would show up at like the occasional family events, but no public appearances. They're like, we don't want to be seen with you, pretty much. Yeah. That's kind of how they did it. What?
Sly's in there saying, man, if people aren't brought to justice behind this kind of stuff by 2026, it'll go black, and you know what I mean? Fucking.
That's why you need to keep fucking hammering it.
But
man.
Here's the thing.
Keep hammering it.
You have to look at this fucking case from the big people point of view, not the little people point of view.
I don't give a fuck about
the way they see this shit is like it's nothing.
I know.
They see this as these are.
We know they see it like
very
that.
Minor things.
That's what's infuriating.
And they'll look at the system and think, well, this is beyond statutes of limitations. Why are you worried about all this shit?
You think we don't?
This is just prostitution.
Why
and
do you
fucking
think
underage
that?
Shit. Their priorities are not the same as our.
Why
priorities.
do you think that we don't understand that? We do understand that.
They don't get.
That's why we keep pushing it.
Yeah, it'll
because
never
it's
happen.
like you have to have consequences just like a regular ass person.
They're not regular people.
I know they're not, but they should be.
And here's the thing.
They should suffer just like the rest of them.
The last thing I heard about all this, I think it was Pam Bondi, says we probably shouldn't release into this because it'll bring down all of Western civilization.
Oh, well.
So what she's talking about...
Let it burn, bitch.
...is Republicans,
Democrats... motherfucker.
Fucking Republicans, Democrats, fucking banking systems, fucking all kinds of shit.
Okay.
And that's all their world.
Then it should come down.
But what they're talking about is if it comes down, then you're now destitute, not making any money. Massive.
No one's making money
fucking,
anyways.
Massive fucking massive. What? That's the way they see it.
I know. Everyone knows they see it like that.
And then even
that's why we're infuriated.
Even if you got convictions on these dudes, they would never do time.
Sadly.
They would never do time.
Man, they should go to fucking prison.
They would never go to prison. They should have
to poop in public.
They were like, what are you going to do? You're going to fucking put me in a Wackenhut prison? I own Wackenhut. And then you go to see him in prison and he's in a mansion in the middle of a Wackenhut fucking prison. Because he owns Wackenhut.
It'd be so fucking
It would be shit like that.
If they just put him in a fucking little cell anyway.
It would be like that. But he owns Wackenhut. So he would fucking shift all... These motherfuckers, you're never going to get them. They're gangsters. They're not civilians. They're gangsters.
But they should be got.
They're gangsters, and you're.
Sly says, "Tom, shut up." Ha, ha, ha.
And you are living by the laws and the rules that
we don't like it.
That they make.
Yes, we don't like it. We know that.
Yeah.
You don't have to like mansplain. We know.
But
we don't like it.
It'll
That's
never
why
happen.
we're like fucking.
It'll never happen.
Yeah. Well, until it does, we're not gonna be happy. Because they're just
die
like I said.
You'll die and be replaced by somebody
They're just fucking people.
They will die.
They're no better than me.
They're no better than you. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what'll happen is they'll die. You'll still be alive, and then you'll die and be replaced by somebody who doesn't even remember.
I know that, but it's like that doesn't mean nothing. That's how
they are.
I know, but that doesn't mean nothing means anything.
It's been going on for hundreds of years.
Yes, baby, I know that.
Yeah. It's
like, but it just seems like that's just an excuse to not do shit about it.
I don't think there's anything to be done.
Well, then you don't have any imagination, I guess.
I don't think there's anything that can be done.
But yeah, so here's the thing. So he was living in the... Here's the thing. So Andrew is in this fucking...
Well, I'm going to tell you why there's nothing to be done before I get done. If you try to go back to the...
I'm going to the bathroom.
No. This is what it is. She's in denial.
I'm not in denial.
She doesn't want to... If you go... What will happen... They know how they know how to defend themselves. Let's say you go back to, okay, let's look at the Epstein files and all the data. You go back in there and it's not there, or it's been replaced with something else, or totally contaminated. Their army, their entire frontline soldiers is a bunch of fucking lawyers. And they've had custody of all of this evidence going back fucking more than a decade. So they've had all this time to change, to rearrange, to erase. When you go back to try to get some kind of a fucking conviction on them, even if you in their court, that's another thing. The evidence that you're going to use against them has already been tainted. They'll switch that shit around to make the evidence look like you're guilty. Because they've had the tech. They've had.
Like I said, everyone knows this.
It's
Tom.
too tainted. You'll never get them.
Everyone knows this.
You'll
Tom.
never get them.
It's just you're explaining it like we don't know. We know that.
It's just
we're just saying we don't like it.
It's pissing in the wind.
And it's just kind of like, yeah, but if enough people think that, then they'll just keep getting away with it. There's more of us than there are of them, is all I'm saying. Like, don't fucking take it. If you're just happy to, like, lay down and lick the boots, then fucking do that. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to live like that. I only got one life, bitch. I'm not living under your fucking boot heel. But you know what I mean? It's, you know, if they escape consequences, yeah, they usually do. That sucks. But we should, like, try to prevent that from happening. We shouldn't just be like, oh, well, that's what always happens, so blah, blah, blah. It's just very defeatist. I'm not really into that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. These bitches, like I said, they're just a human like me and you. They shit, they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like me and you do. They should not be special. They're not special. So, you know, they should suffer the same consequences. If they do the same shit we did. Like I said, if I did this shit, I would be in prison so fast. And so should they. So, yeah, so where was I? Okay, so he moved to Royal, like I said, not really any, they were just kind of like, yeah, well, you're not prince anymore, you got stripped away, which I'm sure was kind of sort of a punishment, because he's so fucking arrogant, and he loved, from what I heard, he loved it. You know how they have this, like, bullshit protocol in the royal family? I don't really know if they do this much anymore, but it's just kind of like where they have all this thing where when one comes in the room, like, you have to do all this fucking pantomime or whatever, like, bowing or addressing them as Her Majesty, which I'm not doing that, I'm sorry. But it's just kind of, I was like I said, you're just a fucking person. So, the fact that now he's not a royal, but his daughters still are, so technically, from that point of view, from the protocol point of view, technically, if he walked in a room and his daughters were there, he would have to, like, kind of genuflect and do all the bullshit to them because they're royals and he's not. And they said, well, that's kind of, you know, because he's, like, super arrogant, and that's, like, that would, like, be a big bruise to his ego, which I hope it is, but, I don't know. So that's one of the things that I thought was kind of funny. So, so he's still living in Royal Lodge at this live stream stage in January of 2026. However, they have told him that he needs to get the funk out they gave him until Easter, which I think is April 5th or around then, like 2026, to get the funk out. But they also gave him an extension to October, so it's kind of bullshit. But like I said, here's the funny thing, is that he had the audacity, this just goes to show you, he had the audacity when they told him, well, you need to get a Royal Lodge, because technically he hadn't really been paying rent on it for like 20 years, even though they're kind of supposed to. But he was like living there for nothing for 20 years in this big, and it's Royal Lodge, it's a huge fucking mansion. So he was living there for all this time, like, for free. And so they were like, yeah, get the fuck out of there. And he had the audacity to say, well, I'll get out of there if you give me and Fergie our own royal properties. He wanted Frogmore College, which is where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle used to live. And then Fergie wanted Adelaide College, which Prince William and Kate Middleton had lived in, and they had moved out. They had the balls to, like, was like, yeah, we'll leave, but you have to give us, like, 2 houses, like, one each. And royal family was like, no. So basically, like, get out, like, but probably what will happen, because some people have said that he might go to another country. The president of the United Arab Emirates is a longtime friend of his and has offered him free use of a very lavish waterfront palace in Abu Dhabi. And so it's speculated that he might go there, or he might go somewhere where there's, like, no extradition, but nobody's entirely sure. Like, he's still in Britain at this stage. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, because I know that there was some shit about Virginia Giuffre where she actually committed suicide, quote unquote. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it. In April of 2025. And she, like I said, she had married an Australian man and she had moved to Australia in the early 2000s. And she was still living there, like on a farm in Western Australia. And now her family do not believe that she was murdered. They said, you know, she'd been going through a lot of shit. She and her husband were divorcing. There was like a horrible custody battle. Also her husband allegedly, abused her, which, like I said, that's gotta fucking sting after being allegedly abused by her dad and then going through all this crap. But you know, it would kind of fit the pattern, sadly, is just that like women that are raised like that, they usually end up in those same, even without like realizing it, like sometimes they'll end up in those same kind of situations. So that might have been what happened to her. But like I said, her family, like, they did not think anything sketchy was going on. The coroner's investigation didn't think anything sketchy was going on. However, it does seem weird, like the timing of it seems pretty weird. So a lot of conspiracy theories obviously kind of emerged in the wake of her death in April of 2025. Because she had posted... Now, I will note that she had posted several years earlier that she wasn't suicidal. That was 2019. She didn't die until 2025, so that was like 6 years earlier. Her dad actually initially thought that... said something about someone's got to her, but like I said, her dad also allegedly abused her, so, you know, how much stock can you put in what he says, you know what I'm saying? There was also, I think she was in a bad car accident and had been hospitalized. I don't know how much that had to do with it. But you know what I mean. So I kind of feel like there was, her family didn't really doubt that she had committed suicide because there had been some, maybe movements in that range. She was going through a lot of shit, but I don't know. Like I said, it does seem kind of weird that her memoir was coming out. And it did come out, like, you know, later on, like her and her, the ghostwriter had written it, and I kind of feel like it came out right before she died, you know, so it does seem kind of weird that she died around that time period. That's all I'm saying. It does seem kind of weird. Did she get bumped off? I don't know, but it does seem kind of weird. So, other than all of the sexual allegations, like I said, I wanted to kind of get in just very, very briefly because it's getting really late. That Andrew, even prior to the Epstein shit, was kind of not seen really favorably by the British public because, as I mentioned earlier, he was involved in a lot of like really dodgy like financial kind of schemes. He was would often, as I mentioned, like use his position as like the trade representative or whatever to take these kind of lavish trips like on the taxpayer's dime, and he was kind of well known for doing that. Like I said, so much so that the press dubbed him Air Miles Andy. There was also sorry, starting to cough. Oh, man, because I've been talking. Ooh. There was also in 2007, there was kind of a big thing where he sold his mansion in Sunning Hill Park for $3 million over the asking price to this billionaire. It was the son-in-law of the former president of Kazakhstan, who was like a friend of his. And so they thought it was like a weird like money laundering, I don't know, like some kind of thing like that, or bribery. And then in 2024, 2025, it came out that he was very closely related with the Chinese businessman Yang Tengbo, also known as Chris Yang or H6, who had actually been banned from the UK on national security grounds for his alleged ties to the Chinese Communist Party's United Front work department. So like they thought he was a spy. So there was that, and this guy got what they called unusual trust from Andrew, and he ran like all of his shit like in China and attended like private, like they seemed like super close, which everyone thought was like super, super sketchy. Now, after the government complained about it, because they're like, hey, like, national security, what the fuck, he said that he stopped associating with him, but no one's really sure about that. So, so like I said, he had sketchy shit going on, aside from all the teenage girl shit, which is creepy enough out on its own. So at this point, I really don't think that there's any redeeming himself. I think his fall has been so spectacular that you can't save this. Like, there's no path where he, like, comes back and be like, man, I fucked up. You know what I mean?
No.
And he comes back to, like, everyone's like, fuck off.
No, it's time for him to retire.
Fuck you. Like, no one... I think, honestly, and I can't speak for the entire British public, obviously, but it's just it seems like everyone's sick of him. They're making the entire country look bad, and they don't like it, and they're just kind of like, man, just fuck off and go away. We just don't want to see you anymore. So I'm just I think they just all hope that he just fucks off and never shows his face again.
God, he was partying at this weird kinky place where fucking all these fucking rich people were cutting deals. That's what this all.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of and he was minimizing it the way you say it, but
well, we got to look at it from their point of view. Well, he was eating too many party peanuts. Those girls were nothing more than the peanuts at the bar in the fucking trail. They were doing other shit, a bunch of fucking corruption and cutting all kinds of deals, and a lot of the shit probably affected us very negatively. Exporting jobs out of the fucking West to China. Who knows? It was bad, whatever their business was. But the girl action was not their main business. That was a side thing.
That was just a shitty side thing.
Those were the hors d'oeuvres.
The fact that they just treated it like that is monstrous in itself.
Look at their point of view, how they see the world. They see world economies and nations are just all games for them. What do they give a fuck? What do they give a fuck about some fucking white trash fucking?
Yeah, we know they don't. But like I said,
some trailer park in Florida.
To a normal person,
she had a hot ass. That's all they care about.
To a normal person, that's horrible.
Oh yeah, it's slavery.
Yeah,
and they told him it was. Basically, Ghislaine and fucking Jeffrey said, "No, you're."
There's not that many of them, bitch. Yeah. We can wipe them all out.
Yeah, Ghislaine. Ghislaine and Jeffrey told them they were slaves, and they were like, "We're not slaves." Oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, you're a slave.
They were.
So that's what it was. But here's the thing that should fucking stun you. That was just a side gig.
Yeah, well, like I said, no one's stunned. Everybody knows.
Those were the napkins that you wipe your hands off at the meal.
But that's why everybody's mad. That's what you don't understand. That's why everyone's mad.
I understand it. I understand, but I'm just saying.
We know all that other shit.
Yeah, that's all it was.
We're mad because those are fucking human beings.
You'll never catch them.
You know?
You'll never catch him.
Like I said, somebody...
Here's the thing. I'm going to talk about Eric Weinstein. He went there.
He was in a couple of the pictures with all these motherfuckers. Yeah, he knew Andrew and all that.
He knew him.
Harvey Weinstein.
No, not Harvey Weinstein. Eric Weinstein. There's several Weinsteins. Eric Weinstein went there. He was a professor from a university. And he's done shows on it on YouTube. I listened to him. He got invited to go there, and he didn't really know what it was all about. It was just supposed to be a bunch of movers and shakers and cool shit.
Yeah, I mean, some people might not have known.
Yeah, a lot of people went there who didn't know what the fuck
it's like,
it was.
Famous people party.
It was part of his job as an intelligence operative is to get his hooks into everybody.
But once you got there and saw that shit happen, you'd be like, yeah.
Eric said he showed up and was like, it's a little St. James. And he's like, this is a beautiful island. What the fuck is this all about? And he's at a table, a glass table, and across the glass table was an American flag being used as a table cover, and fucking Jeffrey was sitting at one side, and then fucking Ghislaine sat on his chest and was giggling and bouncing her boobs up and down. This is when they were younger.
Yeah.
And fucking and Eric was and Weinstein was giving him this spiel, and he could tell that he was being groomed.
Yeah.
To join.
That was
an organization.
Yeah.
And he said this was something out of a James Bond movie. that he was looking at a James Bond villain. And he just had a weird feeling, and he was like, no.
Well,
and
see, now...
he was the head of a university, professor is what he was, having to do with all science and technology. And they were trying to get him to join this fucking thing. And he said, looking back on it, something like this could have only existed in the era before the cell phone.
Yeah.
And he said that whatever this was, it was old. And they had been around for a long time.
Well, yeah, sure.
And he didn't think this is the only place where this was happening.
No, obviously not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this kind of shit.
Yeah.
I don't think they're all interconnected, but there's a lot of little hubs of it.
It was something having to do with the intelligence communities and how to control people and how to get certain things done. And he got spooked by it.
Well, here's the thing.
And he was...
If you're a normal person... And somebody invites you to a party, like, you don't know any better. Like, you're just kind of like, oh, I'm new in Hollywood or whatever the fuck it is. And they're just kind of like, we just invite you to this party. Oh, neat. And you go. And then this shit starts going on.
Yeah.
Most normal people are like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
I don't really want any part of that. The fact that you stayed and partook.
Yeah.
Then you were also a shitty person.
Go on YouTube.
If you were a normal person, you would have just left.
Go on YouTube and look for Eric Weinstein and his Jeffrey Epstein story and listen to him tell you. And he said that, no, it spooked him. And he said, no,
unless they put a gun to your head and made you.
And he backed out. He's like, nah, this doesn't sound good to me.
And it was not, indeed.
And then he was off the island.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't really fault anybody for just going there because if you didn't know what was going on. Because maybe people didn't know.
Everybody had been. Presidents.
Like I said,
heads of universities.
It was just kind of a thing that you did. And like I said, rich people, they partied together, blah, blah, blah. It's like networking and stuff. It's not weird until, if it gets weird, that's kind of the test right there. If you are a person that you see shit getting weird, and it's like, I don't like this. Yeah. And actually, it'd be even better if you reported it. Yeah. Not that they're going to do anything, but at least you would report it and you'd be able to sleep at night.
He said when he saw that glass table and they were using the American flag as a fucking tablecloth, and they were on the other side of that bitch grinning like a motherfucker, and Ghislaine fucking in a low cut dress fucking on his lap, bouncing up and down and trying to fucking giving him a fucking an upshot or a down blouse shot of him and trying to fucking, and they were saying, he didn't say exactly what they said. You can see it on YouTube. Eric Weinstein and his Jeffrey Epstein story. They tried to get him involved in something, but they didn't fucking tell him what it was. And he was like, nah. And then he was off the island the next day.
Yeah, like I said, the second you see some sketchy, illegal shit going on, the right thing to do would be to I'm out, and then go report it to somebody.
He just said it was creepy. He was scared.
I would be too.
He was scared. He said it was creepy.
If I just went to some random ass party that I thought was just like a normal ass party, and then all this weird shit.
Well, and it was just him.
Yeah, that would also be creepy.
Just him, Ghislaine, and those girls.
Well, like I said, you can see Epstein. How
they wanted something from him.
That was kind of their whole. I mean, Epstein and Maxwell. That was kind of their whole shtick. Is that that's how they recruited all those girls too.
Yeah.
Some of them, they even groomed them into recruiting other girls.
Yeah, well, that's where the girls were coming from.
Yeah,
other girls, and they were giving them bonuses.
Because everyone, one
of the girls,
everyone thought it was safe because it's another teenage girl. It's it's okay.
Yeah, and they would give that teenage girl a couple grand for recruiting another girl, and fucking. And
they were poor,
and one girl was all fucking she was grown now. She was real aggressive. She's, I can't believe I did that, but I was so desperate for money at the time.
Yeah, I felt really bad for her, honestly.
Yeah, so...
She got put into, a really bad situation. Yeah. And like I said, when you're poor like that, that's why they target those people, because it's they don't really have any options.
Right.
And they know that, so that's why they target them. It's these chicks, grew up in a fucking trailer park. They don't have anything. It's if I offer them $2,000, they'll do whatever I want. And most people probably would.
What I've estimated is there was an international organization between the top intelligence agencies of the U.S. and Israel to gain control of America's fucking intellectual and industry. In other words, the industries and the universities, at least, and political people at the very top to get control of them, so you can run them on. We can run them on fucking make them a gang. You're basically, it's like a gang initiation, and you can run them on remote control. And it was.
And you have all this. Well, and the thing about it too is that it's kind of a win-win because you have all this fucking dirt on them. Yeah. It's like if you turn on them, you're like, well, you did it willingly. I didn't make you. I didn't put a gun to your head. Blah blah. So no one's gonna believe you.
I estimate that it wasn't.
You're just some slut from a trailer park. What do you know?
It's
estimate like they played that angle.
For the rich guys, it wasn't so much dirt on them. What it was more like a pledge of allegiance.
Well, I think it could be both things.
You can trust me. I'll let you record me fucking this underage girl. And we'll all be in the gang.
It's just alarming how many dudes were just kind of like, okay.
Well, here's the thing. If you join a Mexican cartel, a hardcore Mexican cartel, you can't join until you behead someone or cut their face off while they're alive.
I know that.
Then they trust you. But these soft bitches here, man, for them, what's hardcore is I'm gonna have sex with this 14-year-old girl.
And
like that's difficult.
And let you record me.
Yeah, like that's difficult. You know, what's difficult is cutting somebody's face off while they're alive.
Although some of them might have cut their face.
But you know what I mean. So these are soft little college boys. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, you know, and they don't get much pussy anyway.
I mean, probably not.
Look at them. Look at them.
Yeah.
Come on. Those dudes weren't dick slingers. They were the betas. That's why I say you don't want to give betas power.
I don't think you should give any dudes power. I mean,
Alpha can handle the power because he grew up with power, so he's not really.
You know, the whole alpha beta wolf thing has been debunked, right?
It is not debunked.
Yes, it is.
No, just no.
Yes, it
is not.
Yeah,
there's some. You can look throughout history. You can look throughout history and see them. Yeah.
Oh, Sly says, "Will Puff Daddy get a pardon today?" I fucking hope not. I don't know a huge amount about that case. We probably do a show about that too one of these days.
His operation actually looked a lot like this operation, and it may have been the same thing.
I mean, it might have been like a subset of this
because you see,
I think there was some overlap.
If you're an intelligence agency that wants total control over the society, you also want control over all these artists because they're like propagandists. You can get them to make a song that says something about. That will manipulate people into believing things that you want. But here's another thing, though, that's really going to blow your mind.
Is it?
It could just be nothing more than a bunch of dorky-ass CIA dudes with a bunch of fucking money.
Yeah, I think it's that second.
Then they're totally incompetent.
Yes.
And they're throwing money at this shit.
Probably more.
Like it's going to yield results.
I'm not saying
it's probably that.
I'm not saying it's all A or all B, but I think it's closer to that. Because here's the thing.
You're assuming that they're competent.
Yeah. Don't assume that other people are super geniuses or nothing like that. Right, most people are fucking morons.
Yeah, they're probably dumb.
They only succeed through blind luck and shit like that. So it's like, when shit like this is why I don't believe in these big global conspiracies and all that other kind of stuff. People are too stupid to really maintain that to any length of time. If it does occur, it's only through stupid luck.
Yeah.
Because people are morons.
It could be that somebody in an intelligence agency says, hey, you know what? We might want to get these rappers talking about shit we want them to talk about, and we can control the population by that. So give me $5 million.
Yeah, it was probably some dumb shit like that.
And I'll make that shit happen. And
it was probably some dumb shit
and he keeps $3 million. He steals it. That's part of the grift. And then he fucking filters a bunch of other shit down through hoes and hookers and pimps. And then he gets down to some motherfucker like, what's his name? Fucking, it wasn't Tupac. Who's the fucking, the rapper he's talking about? Then it gets down to him.
Sean Combs.
Yeah, Combs. And he gets $1 million. And then he fucks around with his fucking trashy ass celebrities. And then they go back and write a report to the CIA. Mission accomplished. Of course, nothing happened. It's just that everybody got paid.
That's what I mean.
It's like, probably nothing more than that. It's stealing.
If you've worked a regular job, especially like in a larger like corporate style company, this is probably old hat to you. This is how this shit works. Everybody just does their immediate job. They don't give a shit about below them or above them. As long as my shit gets done, I don't care. Yeah. So it's just, I kind of feel like that's probably what's happening. Yeah. So I don't think it's like some big Spectre James Bond
I think shit. It is, but I think they're incompetent.
But they don't really know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. Yeah.
They don't really know what they're doing. And it's not, there's no super genius like running it. It's just a bunch of idiots.
And here's another thing. They know what they're doing because they don't care about reality. They only care about getting that taxpayer money.
Yeah, that's really all they're mostly.
I think it's mostly an excuse to steal.
Yeah,
because all these bitches that saw Jeffrey and everything said he was an idiot.
He is an idiot. Yeah.
So that means idiots are giving him a bunch of money. Why would an idiot give him a bunch of money?
Because they were stupider than he was.
Well, no, because they made money.
Yeah.
They were like, look, you give me $5 million, I'll rule the world. I'm going to give it to this. I'll give some of it to Jeffrey Epstein.
I'll give it to this.
And he knows everything, and he'll get dirt on every. And it was probably just bullshit.
Yeah.
It was making
Stupid
money.
People get rich all the time.
Making money.
You don't have to be. Yeah. That's why I don't understand this whole like worshipping of like billionaires and stuff. They're not smart. They're dumb.
Some are.
They're dumbasses.
Yeah.
Most of them got rich through family connections.
People.
They got money from their family.
Yeah.
They had money to start with. Most of them. There's really not. You know, the whole myth of like, oh, somebody that started with nothing. It's like it happens, but it's very rare.
Yeah.
Usually you started with, my dad gave me a loan of $2 million and I came up from nothing. Yeah, you didn't come from nothing. You had $2 million.
A really good example of what Jen's talking about would be Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes, his dad was on Tool Co. He was already an oil multimillionaire.
Yeah.
And then Hughes saw an angle when he inherited the company because his dad died. That in order to get down through the bedrock with these drill bits, you got to have a special drill bit. And it was a multifaceted drill bit, looked like 3 gears together. That could drill down real deep. And he said, instead of selling this technology, what I'll do is I'll keep it for myself and I'll lease it to oil companies. That's how he got rich. He didn't invent that drill bit. A mechanic did.
Well, like I said,
and he fucking weaponized it.
Most of the time, people that make money off of an invention or a technology are not the people that made it.
He didn't actually invent it. But then what he did, he's more like a general in charge of an army. And then once he started to make a shit ton of money, he started going into fucking weapons production. And he was smart. He foresaw things like guided missiles and jets. He was working on all that. But the Spruce Goose it worked, but that came too late. He didn't make any money on that because the war was over by the time that came out. He had his own security agency that fucking was better than the CIA and the FBI combined. That could keep track of any fucking Hollywood starlet you could think of because he wanted to know what his girlfriends were saying. This is ridiculous shit. Yeah, he was a genius when it came to certain things. He was ordering certain things to be done. Things would happen. He had the financing to make shit happen. But he was watching his girlfriends. And then he had multiple head injuries. He'd fucking kind of go crazy, go wander off for a few years, and then come back to his empire. Where the fuck you been? He was kind of in a certain way, in some ways, very average guy. And that's the way a lot of them are. So you don't read into what you see at fucking Epstein's Islands. Probably it had to do more with corruption, stealing, and dudes in the CIA and the Mossad thinking that they were getting something out for their money. Or not giving a shit because they were taking a cut out of the money.
Yeah, there's kind of like...
There's a lot of corruption happening. We're like, well, yeah, we got this guy. He knows everybody. We'll get any information. We can manipulate all the dudes in the world. Make sure my budget is $7 million, $8 million. I'm going to take half of that shit, and I'll get the rest of the fucking Jenny and the law work out.
Build a pool in my new house.
How's Jeffrey? We got so much good information. No, they're fucking lying. But all that weird shit on Epstein Islands was happening. For some stupid ass reasons. It was probably that. Never overestimate these bitches. They're dumb.
Yeah, they are all dumbasses.
And they're greedy. and corrupt.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it is.
That's all
like
it
I said,
is.
they're not super geniuses.
No.
They're not Bond villains or nothing like that. They're just
Bond
idiots.
villains, but they're not never going
only because they have money.
Yeah, they have
they're
money.
They're not smart.
They're more about stealing, and they're never really going to achieve what. They're fakes.
No,
they're frauds.
They come up with some really
Imagine a dude that imagines himself a Bond villain, but it'll never work.
I can think of.
He has a bunch of money, but he's full of shit. He's the dude at the club who's lying and fronting to get the chicks. He's that.
Saying he's a Navy SEAL.
Yeah. He has a shit ton of money in his pocket, but he's still a fucking fraud. That's what it is.
Well, that's always how I've seen them. So it's it's good that you're acknowledging.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I know. I know that.
It doesn't mean it's not dangerous.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not dangerous.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that don't think that they're super geniuses because they're absolutely not super geniuses.
No, it's the dude at the club who's fronting.
Yeah, they're just all fake. They're all bluster.
Yeah, I think so. Because everybody said, well, even Eric
and you
Weinstein.
can even take down their fucking egos with like little fucking
Eric Weinstein, the dude I'm telling you to listen to about the Epstein stories, he said he pretended to be intelligent, but you could tell that he was faking it.
Yeah.
That he was a fraud.
A lot of them are like that.
Yeah. He worked for somebody. He had power, but he was not intelligent and he was incompetent.
And a lot of them have
what it is.
imposter syndrome. So you could kind of, if you know that, you can kind of like get to them that way. Because deep down, they know that they're
he was
faking it.
He just knew somebody who was giving him a bunch of money.
Yeah. That's all it is. That's, you know, they're like I said, they're not any smarter. They're not any better.
It was probably somebody that Ghislaine knew. Ghislaine's dad knew somebody, and she fucking sent a bunch of Israeli money at him, and the CIA said, "Well, shit, if Israel's paying him, then we'll pay him." It was some shit like that.
Yeah, like I said, it's all who you know. It doesn't matter how smart you are or what you know or nothing.
Yeah, and then he gets to diddle these little chicks. He was into that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, you'd think, like I said, they can't be that smart because they fell for this, like, hey, come, let me film you fucking this 13-year-old.
Yeah.
You know? Okay.
He got away with it until they killed him. Well, I'll guarantee you they killed him. I think they realized it. I think they realized, oh shit, we wasted all that.
Eventually,
I think what ended up happening is the CIA went, oh fuck, we wasted all this money on this dude. Who approved this shit? Who's this dude?
Well.
Oh fuck, we're gonna get in so much trouble. This bitch gotta die.
Well, like I said,
I think that's what happened. Because these are institutions that act very slowly, and people are changing hands, and there's different ones. Somebody got in there and went, who's Jeffrey Epstein?
There's no overarching plan. It's just like a bunch of grasping idiots who don't know what the last guy did.
Yeah, right. We're like, who's this Jeffrey Epstein dude? Oh, shit. We're sending him money? Why? Because they're sending him money? What has he gotten for us? Wait a minute, how'd this happen? Oh, no. Oh, no. We got to kill this guy. He's an embarrassment, man. If he gets compromised, man, we're fucking toast. He's got to go. And they got rid of his ass.
Yeah, well.
And it still kind of blew back on him. That's what I think happened.
Yeah, it did. Happily.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what the outcome of all this is.
I think you've seen it. It'll never get any better.
I mean, I kind of wish it would get worse. I thought it was just this would kind of be like a catalyst for something, but I don't know. We'll see.
Whatever evidence was there is long gone. It's all been erased probably fucking 10 years ago. And what's there, what might be there now might be fake. Something that was inserted in there. It's just because that was a long time ago.
Although, like I said, a lot of people have copies of that.
The evidence has changed hands. The thing is, though, one of the things that they said is that they had several building or small rooms filled with VHS tapes that are now missing.
Yeah, they seized a bunch of those. Nobody knows where they are.
Yeah,
but they're saying nobody knows where they are.
CIA burned them.
I suspect
CIA burned
exactly
them.
what happened to them.
The CIA burned them. They're gone.
Yeah, probably.
Because they had too many of their friends on there.
Yeah, because they did say at the time before they knew it was on them, it's like, yeah, we found all this shit. And then it's like suddenly, oh, what? We didn't
all that shit's gone. Yeah. It was probably gone fucking... You see, there was a channel I used to watch on YouTube called Rusty Shackelford. And somebody had a damn drone and flying it over Little St. James Islands and taking pictures of it. They may still be on YouTube. Rusty Shackelford. And they showed those FBI agents unloading fucking a bunch of shit out of that damn...
Well, they had footage of it. I saw it.
Yeah, loading that shit out of there. And there was other people around St. James fucking taking pictures of it. They got
it was a big deal when they pulled all
they
that
got shit out of there. That's all destroyed. You'll never see it.
Yeah, and like somehow nobody figured out what happened. You'll never all see the footage on that.
Because it was incriminating for everybody. It's gone.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so it's getting very late.
All right,
I have to get up early.
All right, it was a good show, though.
In the morning.
Good show. What's everybody saying?
Nothing. So nothing
right, yeah.
for the last several minutes. So all right, so we're gonna wrap it up for this evening, so I can finally go to sleep.
All right.
Hopefully.
You guys... no! Guess what?
What? Oh,
Fallout.
I can't.
You can't do it. It's too late.
It's too late. I gotta get up in the morning.
We'll watch it tomorrow.
I gotta get up at like 6:30.
All right, we'll watch it tomorrow.
I can't stay up all night.
Okay.
You know, it's
all
like
we can watch tomorrow. We can watch Fallout.
I mean, if you want to watch it, but I'm not gonna. You know, it's like I said, you shouldn't have talked so long.
She's blaming me. Now she's blaming me.
Well, you did. You just went on and on. You didn't let me finish. So, all right. So we're gonna wrap it up for this evening. Obviously, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. We'll be back on Friday night for the Sidetrack show, which, as you know, most of you do. It's just kind of like a freeform show. We just drink and talk about bullshit. There's no topic or anything like that. It's always super fun, and that's our favorite show of the week, actually. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. Have a good day tomorrow, and we will see you guys again on Friday night.